Please join us for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, all. First on the agenda is call to approve the minutes of April 10th.
Also move, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second. Moved by Meeks, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next is miscellaneous motions. Move to reappoint Don Voorhees as a member of the Coffee County Airport Board for a 3-year term effective May 19th, 2023 until May 18th of 2026.
So moved. I second that.
Moved by Hugan, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move to reappoint Lowell Wood as a member of the Coffee County Airport Board for a 3-year term effective May 19th, 2023 until May 18th, 2026. I'll move.
I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by McCurry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move to proclaim April 2023 as Fair Housing Month.
There's proclamation.
That's just probably an annual event, isn't it?
Yes.
I also move.
I'll second.
Moved by Meeks, seconded by Hugutin. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move to authorize direct the chairman to sign 2024 budget preparation memo and to approve the county clerk to send the memo and supporting documents to all departments.
I'll move.
I'll second that.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move upon the request of Coffee County Housing Authority Board to authorize and direct the chairman to sign real estate mortgage release acknowledgement of satisfaction in full debt secured by Darrell Bowman and Abo, lots 4 and 5 in block 12 of Shays Edition to the city of Burlington, Coffee County, Kansas, book volume M313, page 1-2 of the records of the Register of Deeds of Coffee County, Kansas.
I'll also move.
I'll second.
Moved by Meeks, second by Hugutin. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, on that authorization, direct chairman, the budget paper we're talking about, these two that we've been using for like, are those still adequate for, I should have asked this in the vote, but
Yeah,
these are still adequate for the preparation of the budget for the county,
yes.
correct?
And what we're also doing, we started last year, is I'm able to export a budget prep worksheet out to all departments per their department. It'll show you their expenses line by line for the past 2 years, and then they can fill in what they want their budget to be by those lines. So you'll see, and hopefully it's gonna be more consistent, and it's not different things that people are sending in, so.
That'd be a huge plus, be a huge plus if they could look at the last 2 years' history.
Yes, it will be, and you'll be able to see that too, and then they will also send those, exports back to me, and I can import them straight into the system, so it should make things a lot more smoother.
Any budgets turned in on anything but this form will be sent back. Like last year was a mess.
And there's a couple of them that has been sent back.
Yes.
Just don't hold your breath.
See, I believe that is the end of our miscellaneous.
Warren, sir.
I wanna read a couple of it.
9:05, USD 244 Superintendent Craig Marshall, updates. You're on deck, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to start out, first of all, again, thank you guys for your service. We greatly appreciate what you guys do for the county. I know it's not easy, as I mentioned before, you know, I understand with boards and just, it's a challenge, obviously, what you guys are dealing with each and every day with the county commission. So again, thank you very much for your service. Wanted to come and give you a couple quick updates, not only on the Early Learning Center, but also just on the school district. And if you have any questions, be happy to answer some questions. But I'm going to turn it over to Taylor Akers. She's our director of the Burlington Early Learning Center, and Lexi Melota, she's our assistant director. And they've got some information. I think they've got a handout for you, again, about the Burlington Early Learning Center. So I'll turn it over to them to start with.
Thank you.
We just want to thank you guys for your support. We have seen some extreme growth in the last year. I think on the paper it says all of this, but we've gone, a year ago we were at 18 kids, we now have 51, with more. I mean, we've got at least one a month coming in right now. We're kind of hitting our max of what we can even accept. That paper has a few statements from a few of our parents, just some of the progress we've made and how they feel about bringing their kids to us. But you guys played a huge role in helping us, supporting us with grants, and it's made a huge difference for our ability to serve these families and these kids, bringing in staff from all over the county and beyond. One of my staff read this morning and said, "You missed one. We have someone from Yates Center too." So we have more than I could even remember to put on the paper.
That's good.
But it's been great. We've got some pictures on there from our kids. They take our kids on walks all over town. There's a picture from the babies in Marie Belle's. We have one of the librarians come in and read once a week to the kids. We're just trying to be all over the county, all over the city, using all the resources we're able to, and it's been great. Our kids are happy. They're growing and thriving.
Daycare is something that's needed in every town in this county, and unfortunately, it's not available in every town of the county, so.
How many children do you have?
We are currently at 51.
51.
And we've got a new one starting next week. We've got one in May. I mean, it's just.
And you're expanding to what, 92?
We can accept, what is our number?
74.
74. We probably won't hit that number because that would be an extreme amount, and it would be a lot of stress on the staff and not quality of care.
Right.
We'll probably max out around 55 at this point.
So you're about at your limit then?
Yeah.
Nearing your limit.
And we'll see, I mean, we've got a huge group right now that are gonna be in kindergarten next year, so they'll move up, and we've already got a list ready to move into those spots. We'll kind of shift everybody up a class and take in more little bitties, so.
Are you seeing good results out of the kids?
Absolutely.
I mean, somebody's standing on the outside looking in, but the people that are inside doing the work, you know,
It's been huge. And then to see the differences in the kids, like we've talked a lot we have a lot of resources that come in and work with us and observe and give us advice. And a lot of the kids we have right now are COVID babies, just so to see their social emotional growth.
Right.
You can see it. You can see which ones were born in that or toddlers in that.
And my own kid.
Yeah.
Both of my children.
Yeah, her first one was born as COVID hit, and she's had no social, so being able to put them in this environment.
It does make a huge difference.
Oh,
just, just to get socialized.
Yeah,
for the little ones.
I was a stay-at-home mom with all of my kids for 20-plus years, and I kind of missed out. Like I have 2 foster kids that are over here, and to see their growth versus my own kids, I mean, staying at home was a great thing, but we're teaching kids, they're growing socially, and we have a connection with the elementary school, so the kids are comfortable when they go into kindergarten. They're not, it's not that beginning
socially
fear and stuff. Yeah, they're learning their basics. They're going into kindergarten ready to learn and comfortable in the environment. And
also they're not so attached to mom or dad.
it makes a huge
Yeah,
difference.
I could not imagine mine if she would have went straight to kindergarten.
Traumatic.
We would have struggled.
Yeah, you would have struggled as well.
Absolutely. I was sitting out there and she would cry, but I knew the teachers were, she was safe, she was taken care of, so it helped.
I don't downplay stay-at-home moms. I don't regret
No.
that at all. It
No,
was
not a
a
bit.
huge
The
blessing
hardest
to
job
me
I've
to be
ever
able to
had.
do that, but I can definitely see benefits of daycare
Yeah.
that I didn't see before, so.
And obviously, so many families are two-parent working families, and it's a challenge. Obviously, you want to have a great place for your kids to go each and every day to learn, grow, develop ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. You get the idea of reading, and so on and so forth. So a little bit of historical perspective. We'll go back 2 years ago when because we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. We started out with 18 kids. We're at 51. We've been able to go and possibly move our capacity to 74. 74 would be if we had a lot of, I'm going to say 4 and 5-year-olds, because again, the ratios that you have to have, the ratios for infants is different than it is for older kids. So if you were to have 4 and 5-year-olds, yeah, you could have up to 74 because you can have more, but we haven't, obviously, there's a need for infant care. Those, like I say, those infant spots are very valuable in the community just because there's just not as many people taking infants. So, again, it's just a wonderful facility. You guys have been very supportive to help us out with like COVID or ARPA or CARES money that you have been able to help donate to us in the past. And like I say, we just could not. When you try to open a new business, because remember, this is a separate business. This is not supported by the school district. This is a separate entity, a separate business. We don't use general fund dollars to support the daycare. You open up a business, it's a challenge, and you open it up in the middle of COVID, it's an even bigger challenge. So those dollars that you guys helped us out were just terrific. And just recently, we found out about 2 weeks ago, we received a Patterson Family Foundation grant. It's in the southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri area, of $300,000. Additionally, they love what we're doing. They love the community support. When we can show that we have the city that donated the downtown city hall to us to be able to have that building for a daycare, and the county commissioners being able to add some money to the mix of what we were doing with the COVID money that you guys were able to use. And then we have other, connections that we have within the city and the county. We show that group of people pulling together. Those grants are wonderful opportunities. When they see that the community is pulling together, they want to support us, because it's not like we're just going to ask them for money and nobody else is in the mix. Nobody else has any skin in the game. But this will help us with a sustainability grant. Basically, we're looking to put $100,000 a year for 3 years, and it will help us now that we're at that point when we got to about 48 to 50. We knew we were going to be able to be sustainable, if you will, be break even or slightly profitable. And that's helped us, like I say, get to that point. So again.
Well, if I can interrupt for a second.
Sure.
That grant, we actually didn't get what we applied for. They thought what we're doing is unique, and they want to use us as a kind of a pilot to come in and see what we're doing, so other school districts in other areas can do it, because they're having the same needs and not sure where to start. And so they kind of tweaked the grant for us they're like, we'll give you this if you'll help us out a little bit. And it's kind of cool to be able to show them what we're doing. And
looking down the road, potential growth of Gulf County,
Mm-hmm.
what's your 5-year goal over there?
Oh, I don't even know if we really haven't even set a 5-year goal, but that's something that we need to do with Lexi and Taylor coming on in the last year. We'll probably look at some different things, as far as projections, and potentially, again, with obviously what could be happening with the growth in the county. Do we expand? Do we look at an expansion of some sort?
I was wondering if you're already looking.
there's a lot of tricky moving parts to that. Like at this point in that building, we're not going anywhere. We're at where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all hearsay. I don't know what's going on. I was told that the new plant coming in, they'll be required to have a daycare on site for their staff. So I don't know if that will affect us or not, but physical growth, short of a new building, we can't do a whole lot. So I don't know what that looks like.
I'm sorry, you got 25 employees. Do you have trouble retaining employees?
We've done okay, better than I expected to. We work really hard to, keep them happy, that sounds bad, but make it an enjoyable place to work and find little perks where we can. I love our team. We're kind of a little family right now, slightly dysfunctional family, but
They're doing great.
I mean, we work really well together. There's always one or two that are a challenge, but we've been really blessed that we've been able to hire that many, and that they're all working so well together.
Well, especially because childcare in general is a high burnout, high turnaround, typically, job, so.
How many tiny ones can you handle? Newborns, I guess.
It's a 1-to-3 ratio.
I see.
So we have, like, our youngest room, we have 9 babies and 3 staff
Oh, yes.
at all times.
I'm glad it's working out. Hats off to you for participating in the foster children program
thank you.
too. We need, good people, good parents who wanna do
Not
that
an easy-
job. And it's a difficult one,
It's
I'm
rough,
sure at
yeah.
times, but
Yes.
thank you.
And this is such a benefit, again, city employees, county employees, just employees for different businesses in town. They've got a place for daycare, they can obviously look to recruit employees. That was something that was a challenge before, and so, again, it's a true benefit for the city, the county. You can see that there's kids coming from all over. I mean, it's just not 51 kids from Burlington, there's kids coming from all over the county and even outside the county. People come in and work if we have spots available and openings.
We try really hard to make that work for people too. If we know it's someone from the hospital and they really need daycare to be able to keep working, we kinda, all right, we can move this kid here and squeeze him in here. Like, if it is at all legally possible for us to do it, we try to juggle kids and make that happen, or make their wait time as limited as possible. At some points, there's nothing we can do, but
What's your daycare rates?
right now, it's $150 for toddlers a week and $175 for infants. We're talking about having to up that just to
$175?
$175 a week for infants under 12 months.
Yes.
But we don't pay fantastic, so if we can use, between the grant, that is huge. The grant gives us money to help with staff, and we have quite a few scholarships for families that are in need. We have quite a few needy families, single parents or low income, or it's some pretty rough situations. So we try to give them some scholarships to help them and keep their kids in a safe place.
So currently, we have a grant that we wrote from the Jones Trust grant out of Emporia, 5 scholarships for $50 a week. So that's a $200 a month, savings for people that they would have, again, a scholarship helps out with the fees. With the $100,000 a year for 3 years, that $300,000 Patterson grant, we're gonna allot a certain amount for scholarships as well. So we're basically gonna take that $100,000 a year, and we're gonna apply 40% of that maybe to salaries and benefits, and 20% to scholarships. We're in the process, since we just did get that, we're in the process of putting together our plan as far as how we utilize those funds and go from there, so
Well,
anyway.
with our growth in a year, we've had some tricky, like, we just discovered our playground isn't big enough for the kids. We have too many kids for the legal size of playgrounds, and now we're having to schedule when they're allowed to be outside, because we can't have too many kids on the playground at once, so we're in the process of fencing off a little bit more and expanding our playground.
2 years later.
The kids need to be out there, and for all of our sanity.
Oh, on a day like this especially, so.
Sunshine is good. Sunshine is good.
So many of our workforce is working Saturdays and even a lot of Sundays, but you're just open 5 days a
Yeah.
week, correct?
Yep, right now that's.
And that could be a discussion in 5 years. We have even discussed that earlier about, does it become a Saturday or a Sunday? Does it become an evening scenario? I mean, we've thought about these things, just haven't gotten there yet, but,
We have
because shift works.
we've got a little bit of extended hours. We have 2 or 3 kids that come in 30 minutes early in the morning, they come at 6:45 because their families work at 7.
I know we used to have 2, 3, or 4 ladies in Leroy, do daycare for 3, 4, 5 students. There's not a one of them doing it now.
It is a high burnout rate.
They
I've
went
done
to-
in-home
they went to
daycare my whole
workforce.
life, and
Right.
I quit for a while. It's hard. You're dealing with families that take advantage, and
And if you're
it's not a
doing it in your
thankful
home,
job.
yeah, if you're doing it in your home, it's a challenge too, because you're at home working and then you're done, and then at the end of the day, you're probably cleaning up your home from the day, and then you start right over, so.
Well, and my final burnout, I had parents and grandparents come in and discipline my children in my home and not know what was happening, and I was like, that was kind of the final straw. Nope, this is my home, this is my kid's safe place.
She said,
They
I'm
don't
never
need
doing
more parents.
daycare again, and then I got a call. Hey, by the way.
And these ladies have done wonderful, absolutely terrific job, very, very pleased. So if you have questions, things pop up in the future, I say feel free just to, let me know, and I can pass on the questions to Taylor and Lexi. A couple other quick notes again, we did open up our athletic complex because we are done with our turf project. It is incredible out there. If you have not been out to see it, please do so. We have a grand opening on Thursday. Baseball, softball has doubleheaders at home, so we're going to have a quick little ceremony before the games, and then we have a community barbecue there, hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, water, free of charge to anybody, so we want a big crowd. So if you'd like to come out and do that, that's Thursday, April 20th, and you're more than welcome to do that. I want to give a quick positive to Bobby Skipper, too. Bobby has been tremendous to work with. I appreciate you guys also mentioning, to get me involved in the potential work meeting, or I shouldn't say potential, the work meeting with Flint Hills Technical College. Appreciate that a lot. I really appreciate the relationship the school district has with the county and the commissioners, and that we can just work together to make this place even better. So again, thank you very much. Any
What
quick
time's your
questions?
event, what time's your event Thursday?
We're gonna do about 4:20, the first pitches for both games are set for 4:30, and we're gonna start serving food like around 5 o'clock or so. So, please feel free to come out. Everybody's welcome, I say, it's just free, no admission, free meal, yeah. And it's gonna be sunny and 75, no wind.
People drive a long ways for a free hot dog.
When you
questions?
started this project over here 2 years ago, I don't have any idea what your target was, and I know I didn't understand, or didn't
Right.
know exactly where it was gonna go and how far it's gonna go, but to me, you probably exceeded my expectation, and maybe even your own, but I don't know, thanks for getting it all done, so.
Well, thank you. I would agree, yes.
Successful program, sounds like, great.
Thank you.
You're doing a fine job, and keep up the good work.
All right. Commissioners, again, thank you very much. Have a
Thank
super
you.
day.
You too. Thank you. Pretty neat.
It is, that worked out.
Watch it start from nothing to
Yeah.
what it is now.
Success story. I think the problem is, not just statewide, but nationwide.
Yeah,
Nationwide, we're in the yeah, it is, it's everywhere. From what I read, and from what I, yeah. Did you read first? It's been, yeah. I'm glad it's grants out. Yeah.
Morning, sir. Been camping any?
Yes, they got it for set, and they got, yeah.
No, I didn't have one.
We're at 9:15 River City. Joe,
Okay.
you're on deck, sir.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Just wanted to give you an update real quick on the two projects we have going on right now. So the first one is the street parking improvements. So had bids that were due last Friday. We'll do a bid opening today. After we open the bids, we'll do a scope review meeting with the apparent low bidder. After that, we'll do a letter of recommendation that'll be submitted to the board by the end of the week. Hopefully by next Monday, we'll submit to the board for approval, and we'll get rolling on that project. As far as the timeline goes, we will expect a contract to be written to the apparent low bidder a week after the board's approval, at the latest. We're thinking that with the procurement of all the materials, it'll be another 3 weeks after that. Hopefully get school wrapped up, and then start the project right after that. That's the update on the street parking improvements. You guys have any questions on that one?
Have we opened the bids yet?
We've not opened the bids yet. They were
Are
due.
we gonna do that today? That's our 10th, isn't it?
Yeah, we'd like to do it right after this,
Oh, okay.
or whenever you guys can.
All right.
We're gonna do that in here.
It's up to you guys, wherever you guys like.
The only reason I ask is because I've been keeping the city informed on what, giving them the latest and greatest sets of drawings as they come to me.
Yeah.
And I need to go to, excuse me, city council Wednesday night, because I guess they have some questions about different things. So
Okay.
The more information I have for Wednesday night, the better off I'd be, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we can do it whenever you guys like.
So it'll be, May 1st, that you will sign the contract on the successful bidder?
At the very latest. If we can get the board's approval next Monday.
That's 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we get the board approval, we can write the contract and it should be rolling right away.
Okay. What's the time frame on it, the project being completed?
We'll have to work that out with the apparent low bidder, but we're hoping that it would be about a 3-month project.
A 3-month project?
Yeah. It's gonna take roughly about a month just to get some of the material, especially the storm sewer materials. Now, there's parts of the project that we can start ahead of time that we're gonna work on.
So it'll be the end of July,
Yeah,
as it looks right now.
as it looks right now.
You'll also be moving forward with the jail project as well.
Yes. So the next, obviously, discussion point is the law enforcement center. So right now, we've been working on the design coordination meetings. Been having that in the background with the Goldberg Group and all the design team. So that's been ongoing. Unfortunately, the design milestones are a little bit behind. We are, however, expediting the site work package to be able to get that package out early. So what we'd like to do is have that coincide with the street parking improvements. And we're hoping that if we can get that early site work package released, once the street parking finishes up, you can roll right into the groundbreaking of the law enforcement center. So that would be putting the groundbreaking or starting on that site work package for the law enforcement center right around the July timeframe too. So,
See, the original target date was May 23rd, so we're pushed back about 2 months right now.
yes, right now the design is behind.
It's gonna get cold again.
What's your expected, the bidding is to be done April 23rd on the jail project. But I guess that's already pretty much.
No, it will not happen, yeah.
That'll be back to June, sometime in June.
Yeah, we're hoping that if, around that time frame, because we'd like to be in the ground by July.
Supply chain issues, has that gotten better? I know that
For
was.
certain aspects, yes, for some, no. When you look at transformers and you look at all the breakers, those are our longest lead times right now by far. We do have the ability to work on custom transformers. Obviously, it does come with a cost, but right now, what we're typically seeing is somewhere between around the 15-month time frame after approvals. So if we can do that as an early bid package, obviously we would like to do that. If not, there are, like I said, custom panels that we can get, but it comes with a cost. So we'd like to avoid those by obviously doing an early bid package for those. But everything else on the correctional side with the steel cells, those are all within our schedule. A lot of your HVAC mechanical equipment, those are all fine. It's just transformers, panel boards, and breakers. That's what's killing us right now.
Well, time is everything, I guess.
Yep.
We'll open the bids at Ryan.
I think, yeah, they had me put them on at 10,
Mhm.
and then he called and said 9:15,
Mm-hmm.
and it did, no one said it been opening, so I would just do it now.
Was it, they've already, the time and date, is everybody past that when it had to be in?
Yeah, this Friday.
Okay. We can do it now, if we got them. We could open the bids now if you want, if you'd like.
Yeah.
That way we can get it done before 10 o'clock shows up. We got 30 minutes.
Okay. That works.
If you've got them, who's got them?
I think they went to the clerk's office. Clerk's office.
So, gotta find the bids. That's a lot of them right there.
So what I would recommend is that we not release the bid price at this point. Since we only received one bid, obviously we want to make sure that we're doing a scope review and everything is covered. For the sake of this low bid, I'd rather not release the price,
Right.
just in case we have to rebid. So this is the public bid opening for the street improvement project in the Coffee County Law Enforcement Center. We received one bid from Pillow Construction.
You had an estimate?
We do have one prepared internally. So this bid's from Killow Construction. Bidder acknowledges that they've submitted on the approved bid form. The unit prices are completed and filled in. Bidder has submitted a voluntary alternate, and it looks like it is completed along with the required bid form. So we do have a responsive bid.
Can you say whether or not it's within your budget?
It is within our budget. Yep. So we will conduct those scope review meetings, probably tomorrow. We'll make sure that they can fit in their schedule, and then we'll have a letter of recommendation to the board no later than Thursday this week.
So just for general information, I don't know if anybody read the paper, but it sounded like the city is a little concerned that a commissioner hadn't approached them yet to get them updated on this parking lot. Just for general information, I have been making sure the street superintendent gets a copy of the drawings as they come available, and ask him if he has any concerns. And then while I was on my trip, I seen that, you called and said that the city was wanting someone to attend the council meeting, last council meeting. I'm just passing this out as general information. So anyway, I guess I'm the one kind of leading this crusade, so to speak, that I did contact the street superintendent and the mayor both that day on Thursday and let them know I couldn't make it to the council meeting. And said the council did have some questions, and it sounded like the street superintendent didn't see any issues, any designs thus far. And I told him, I said, if there was something that arose, I assume we could do it via change order if necessary.
If you'd like, we'd be more than happy to sit in with them or attend the council meeting with them as well.
Yeah, he didn't see anything that jumped out at him, but after speaking with the mayor, it sounded like the questions the council may have is, and we've never really designated who's gonna park where, was the only question I've received, so just letting the rest of the commission know. And so if you see that in the paper, I guess that's kind of their concern, because who's parking where, so.
What time's
We haven't designated who is parking where, we just
Or who's
assumed-
allowed to park there.
Yeah, we just assumed that, or obviously, I guess, that, so again, I gotta go to the council meeting Wednesday night, so the low bid would be, who's the contractor, I mean, answer as many questions as I can.
We'll have all that to you by Wednesday.
Is it going asphalt, is it going concrete, is it, who's the contractor? And I guess I'm gonna assume that the employees are gonna be asked to park in the north lot. I mean, as a commission as a whole, I don't know.
I thought that was the thought.
That was the assumption, yeah, so.
We're
I don't
getting
think-
rid of a big parking lot, so you're gonna have to transfer vehicles from this parking lot to that parking lot.
And I spoke to a few of the employees, and they said they assumed that's where they're gonna park as well, so. And the rest of the perimeter would be for Joe Public, so. Those would be questions I'm gonna be answering, I guess, Wednesday night.
If you need any help or you need us to attend it as well, just let us know.
It's like I say, just as long as I know who the apparent low bidder is and whether or not you're gonna suggest asphalt, concrete, more info I got, the better, I guess.
We'll have that all for you.
I see the parking lot along the streets as being information that the city needs to know, but what happens on our property, as far as I'm concerned, is our property.
Like I said, we never really said designated that, or asked the employees to park in the north lot, but that was an assumption, so.
So Joe, you indicated you could be there, or?
Yeah, I just need to know what time or where the meeting's at.
They have
anything like
6
that.
o'clock Wednesday night, City Hall,
Okay.
but I forgot to call them this morning, get myself on the agenda, I'll get that when I leave here, but,
Sounds good.
it-
I'll attend with you.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure they're all happy and content. Good. Like I've been telling them, I'm not doing this to hinder anything on, as far as the city goes. I mean, we're fit to bill when you get it done, so.
Yes,
Here we
sir.
are.
Started off with an email from Stan Luke saying that he wanted me to come to a board meeting, city board meeting, and update them on the street project, and I sent him an email back stating that Tom Huguenin was heading that. It's in his wheelhouse as far as construction, And I'd be totally ignorant to show up at a city council meeting and try to advise them on the street parking information that they're gonna want. I'd have the deer in the headlights with this stuff. I forwarded it to him.
And I did, again, I contacted.
Yeah, you did.
Just letting the rest of the commission know that I did contact the city. And I told them I could be there via phone conference at 6 o'clock on a board meeting night, and they said it wasn't necessary, so that's why I was just kind of surprised to see they were concerned. Nobody from the commission has been there yet, so we keep them informed as I can.
Let us know how we can help on that as well.
Okay.
To get everything put in place, startup date for this back to it, almost gonna be May 1st, isn't it, Joe?
Probably in the middle of May, more realistically, and then obviously we want to make sure
In 3
that,
months, so you're looking at middle of July for completion.
yeah, now there's a lot of things we'll be able to kind of phase or do in May. Obviously, the storm sewer is the one that's gonna take the longest, getting all that material and getting that pipe. But there's no reason why we can't do
Depending
so.
on weather too. Depending on weather too.
Oh, yes, yeah, and obviously coordinating around the school,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
the number one concern is
Sure.
the safety.
I'll do respect here, John, if you start construction in the middle of May, middle of August is 3 months, not middle of July. It's 2.
Yeah. August is 3, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, if we can get that parking lot done, and we can get cars
Sooner the
moved
better.
over there, we can obviously start.
Just hope for not a whole lot of rain.
Sure hope so.
I hope it rains.
Think of mid-August completion.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, we'll work with the little bidder on getting their schedule and fine tune all that.
Awesome.
Very well, thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, yeah. Do you,
You wanna run a copy of that?
if you want to-
You have to use rubber hammers down there.
I can go tell them to take a break.
It's fine. We'll go on break.
I can't believe we don't have nail guns. Everybody's got nail guns.
Should be
They were using nail guns last week, but it may be where they are.
Oh, yeah.
Dang electrician down there now is what it is.
Oh.
He disrupts everything he goes. Parking.
Sheriff, you got anything for us today? No?
So your parking might be a good time to talk about parking. I think there were a lot of assumptions made about parking, but there will be, 71 or so spots created across the street at the old church ground. So that would be anticipated to be where employees would park, I would assume.
I'm gonna have it.
Over there.
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 71.
Something like that.
And then the angled parking going around the perimeter of the courthouse. My assumption was that would be where the public would park going in and out, outside of handicap accessible parking. Different.
And I know we're doing from 8th to 7th Street as kind of a courtesy to the school for staff parking there, so it's not to hinder them much during construction or the jail, so. Like I say, we never really said employees park there.
Right, well, I mean, I just figured it'd be obvious, seeing how we're taking 90% of the west parking lot out and Angie.
Well, and that would be, my other assumption is that the north side of the jail, if you will, would be for
For
staff parking for the
jail.
sheriff.
Yeah, sheriff's
Yeah,
office.
jail, so. Right. Just wanna make sure we're all on the same page, so.
How many employees, not counting the jail, are there in the courthouse? Anybody got an idea? I mean, I don't know how many spots we're doing away with out here.
I used to know that number off the top of my head, I don't
We've got
know.
150 employees, and 50 of them is down at the road and bridge. So there's 90,
How many's in the courthouse employee-wise?
there's 90 to 100 counting the sheriff's department. There's gotta be 98 or so.
Yeah, there's about 94 spots
Yeah.
out there roughly.
Including the sheriff's department. You say 94 spots out there?
Yeah, I think that's what, years ago when we did a count on those, there was roughly
we-
about 97 in the courthouse. There's probably about, with the sheriff's office, you got about 30, probably 60.
So we should have enough room.
We should have enough room, yeah.
Between, and like I say, the sheriff's department utilizes a bunch of the parking places over here, once that's completed.
Don't you agree that the north side of the jail, that parking lot that's remaining would be for your staff, basically? And visitors as well,
Again, we're hoping that since we moved it,
10 foot east.
moved it 11 foot away from the existing building, that we'll have a few parking spots, 11 to 13 spots on the west side of the new build. So that'll give us some parking, and then the parking, still in the parking lot, that very north end. that,
Right.
We believe the public will park there, so they can pull in, get a VIN check done, somebody come and visit, Again, we gotta remember that people are coming in that front door to go also to the prosecutor's office.
Right.
So those 10 parking spots or whatever right there, we think will be utilized pretty easily by the public coming to that building.
Okay.
So we're hoping that across, again, north of that on the street, then maybe parking, but again, it's public parking, folks. Anybody can park anywhere. I mean, it's just gonna be first come, first served to park. If an employee wants to park on the north or east side of the courthouse, that's their God-given right to pull in and park, the same way as that north parking lot. I mean, it's not like we got a business sitting across the street to the east that we're gonna be using that parking lot to go back and forth to Dollar General or to a grocery store. It's open parking. I don't think that the public's gonna be doing a lot of parking there because there's nothing right there for them to walk to.
Agreed.
So I guess our thought would be to ask employees to park in the north lot.
That would be the assumption I would have,
When
yes.
available.
Yeah, I just assumed that that's where they would park.
That'd be my thought.
The only other, I mean, if for whatever reason there's not enough there, I guess my thought was suggest they use the east side
Yes,
of
on the
Sixth Street,
Sangerville Valley.
like where Angie and her staff are, so
Mhm.
use the east.
Right, that makes sense. don't
That
it?
way Joe Public can have the inner
Surrounded,
parameters, so
so
to
to
speak.
speak.
But there's probably no question it'll be an inconvenience for a short period of time. But everybody needs to recognize, what's gonna be built there in the next several months. It'll be a huge plus for everybody.
Right.
They shouldn't mind a little inconvenience for 30 to 60 days for the parking.
But the end result, I don't see an issue there as far as parking is.
Yeah. Okay.
Should be plenty.
So, Chair, as you know, and I mentioned, I think last week, we have some felony jury trials coming up in June, and if this project kicks off in that timeline, we'll have some
Congestion?
congestion. That's right. So we'll need to probably figure out a plan in advance for all the cars that will be here to park and where we have overflow or something.
They're still parking on the north side of the street out here.
Yeah, no, I know, but if my anticipation is correct, we're gonna have actually more jurors for these projects, or for these trials based on the type of cases than other cases, and that's, your pool is gonna be larger than other types of cases, is my anticipation. And I'm not sure how many, but you're potentially talking about 200 plus jurors.
Wow. Just to run through the
For the screening process.
screening process.
Yeah, you have to, so for a felony, you have to have 12 plus 2 alternates. And depending on your type of case, depends on how many jurors the court will request. So I helped with a trial in Osage County here a few weeks ago, and we went through almost an entire pool. I think they had five or 8 jurors in the pool left over, and the week before they had added a number of jurors to the point where the sheriff actually had to go out and serve them. just to get enough in the pool. So we excluded automatically around 20 jurors just for cause, and then each side has peremptory challenges to get you down to your pool, and that took an entire day. So I'm just, bandwidth-wise, you just have to try to envision what's gonna happen, and I don't think you really can until you're in there, so to speak, but
We'll need all the parking we can get.
Well, I mean, a person could maybe work with Coffee County Transportation too, to maybe park them down at the park, or at a satellite location and transport them in and out.
Wait, you're thinking 200? You're thinking 200?
I mean, that may be a high number, but I'm just saying that's gonna be
It
quite a
could be,
few.
it could be as much as.
So, Sheriff, do you remember for that second-degree murder case, how many jurors were here?
125.
How many times?
125.
They got parking down there behind the old theater, or it's up to theater, the music house,
Yeah.
Everything goes to Methodist Church, right?
the Methodist church. I mean, if you gotta bring Coffee County Transport in to haul them in and out.
200 may be a high number, I'm just saying it's gonna be quite a few.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think shutting the street down out in front of the courthouse is gonna be an option for parking. You park a lot of vehicles there, though.
I think they talked to the church last time and asked them if we could park there. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Hopefully River City will have everything going like gangbusters, and we'll have this north parking lot completed by then.
Fingers crossed.
Have all our faith in
Mr. Chairman, not to change the subject, but since our sheriff and undersheriff is here, the security down on the first floor has been moved 3, 4, 5 feet. Was that to make it more secure, or just needed a space, or any particular reason it's moved 3 or 4 feet after the decision was made to?
Two reasons. One, gives you a better line of sight up the hallway here, the steps. And second of all, gives us a little extra room on the east end for the magnetometer to be there. And of course, gives us more room from the walkway between the elevator, the wall to the elevator, and the site. So there's plenty of width for people to walk in and out and not be loaded in like cattle going into.
It does look like it'll be a plus for, the 2 or 3 reasons that you suggested, so.
It'd be nice for it to see up the stairway, be able to see up the stairway.
Be good to see that stairway. Yeah.
There was a lot of spirited discussion about moving it, placement, and so on and so forth. But as you can see, what it looks like down there, the majority of the materials have been purchased here locally. And who is it that's doing the countertops?
Countertop trims and ribbon.
Yep. So I know that was something that was important, and Prasco has taken the initiative to make sure that anything that can be purchased locally in Coffee County, that is occurring. He's using local contractors to help and assist, so I think that's an additional plus as well.
Always.
And just so you know, you see sheetrock within that structure, that is ballistic sheetrock that is, I think he said, between $700 and $800 a sheet.
You don't want much waste there, do you?
No.
Measure twice.
Measure twice.
It looks like it's got a lot of fiber built into it.
Saw sounds like cutting steel when you're going through it, probably, sawing it.
I tapped on it, it felt pretty solid.
Well, we'll continue on. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Take care, Tom. Take care, Tom.
They wanna do it 5 minutes, 10-minute break?
It says on there, you know.
Okay, we're gonna take a break at 9:50 and come back at 10.
Check mark.
Put a check mark on it.
We've not read that.
Oh, okay.
He'll sneak in here first.
Yeah.
There's a line at the bathroom. Yep. Some, signs got knocked down.
few.
North of, the Bowman Cemetery. Did you see them?
I guess I haven't seen those yet. I mean,
North of the cemetery on the west side of the road, just over the crest of the hill, might be a no passing sign maybe.
Okay. I think
And
we
then
already heard
I think
about
there's
that
a
one.
stop sign over in that vicinity too.
Yeah, we had several.
Hey, that wind was pretty tough, man.
This
That's what
wasn't-
got that stop sign there.
This wasn't.
No, this wasn't wind. We did have one call out, Saturday morning. Numerous stop signs, numerous road signs.
No kidding.
I mean, as far as I know, there were 5 stop signs down amongst other signs, so, but, say north of Bowman Cemetery,
Yeah, north of Bowman Cemetery, over the crest of the hill on the west side
there we go.
is a sign, and then I think there's a stop sign, I don't know if it was at 22nd.
20, okay, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's 22nd Nyers, 23rd Nyers, 24th Nyers, and Garner. I don't have a complete list yet, but there were quite a few.
Man, they were busy, weren't they?
Yeah,
Somebody was on a sign hunting spree.
so they left most of them, I think. We're missing one stop sign, the rest were just pushed over.
Any evidence?
No, maybe have a description on the vehicle. We'll
Good.
see where that goes. So, I'll jump right in here. First motion I'm gonna have is gonna be to fill our, crew leader on the asphalt crew. That's one that's been, we interviewed here quite a while back, been open, and,
Motion 2023-29. Move to authorize director chairman to sign CP2 for Nathan Hollinger. Promotion to crew leader, full-time, subject to regular IPP. Wage classification 40-02. Wage at $21.36, effective 4/17/23. He was hired, what, in the 8th month
he was, yeah,
of
August.
22?
Yep, he come back on and, well, he worked for us the year before that, and
Right.
then left, come back in August.
Right. And then motion, need a motion, and, I'll move.
So is that basically his April step as well? The step increase is happening in April?
He would have gone from,
I see where he went from and to, but I guess my question is, could you,
No.
so there will be no other step other than this one at this point?
he would have had, he would have had a step raise April 1st. I'm trying to look here,
All right.
3503. Yeah, he would have,
All right.
So it'd be a step plus the classification.
yep.
Okay, all right.
I'll make a move to it.
McCurry moved,
I'll second.
seconded by Human. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, the next one, I would like to request an executive session, for non-elected personnel, and reference the bridge crew supervisor position, that we have open for the board and myself for 10 minutes.
You want Wade?
If he's available, but if he's not,
Also move.
Second. Moved by me, seconded by Knight. Any
What was it
discussion?
regarding?
Non-elected personnel job performance. Non-elected personnel job performance, the board. Ryan, move second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We'll enter at 10:08 for 10 minutes. Somebody gave a little bit too much time.
A little too. While you're waiting.
We'll wait till Steve gets back in here. All right. Motion 2023-29. Move to authorize direct chairman to sign CP2 for Adam Souter, promotion from supervisor, crew supervisor, full-time subject to our IPP, wage classification 5501, wage $25.43, effective 4/17/23.
So moved. I'll second that.
Moved by Houston, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you. Would like to reiterate that, on those, last two motions there, we do have our, IPP, our probation period, that's part of any jobs like this, so that's, that was spelled out to both those employees and just,
Good.
expectations there moving forward. Next, we're ready for, to go out for culvert bids. This is typically about April timeframe and October timeframe. It's a couple times a year. We'll go out for assorted culverts. Estimating probably around $100,000 for this order.
A lot of culverts.
Yep.
Let's see, motion 2023-38, move to approve road and bridge superintendent request for solicit formal bids and purchase various culvert pipes and end sections for inventory at the county shop. Funds to be paid from road and bridge fund.
You move?
Yep.
I'll second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Meeks.
So you use all of them in a year?
Yeah.
That's just a general question.
Yeah, majority, yes.
Really?
Yeah, like right now, we're out of a lot of our 15-inch stock. Our 12 to 18-inch stuff, we go through a lot of that, but, we try to keep just a few of the larger pipes on hand, 48-inch size. That's about as large as we'll keep in stock.
So mostly just like replacement then?
Yeah, a lot of these will be entrance pipes, entrance culverts, and then there'll also be some crossroad culverts. In the crossroad culverts we'll pull money out of special bridge to reimburse, road and bridge for, but.
I was gonna have this conversation with how many, new installs do you do in a year, like, requests?
I'd have to go back and look. I think last year for new and entrance replacements,
No, just new,
Just
like
new.
requests.
I'd have to go back and look. It's probably 20, 15.
Really?
Yeah, anytime you have a new place being built
Right.
or property sells or is divided, there'll be new entrances in. Occasionally somebody wants a secondary access into a property.
Well, I know we've had this discussion before that Road and Bridge used to have this much in their budget and it's dwindled. Your budget's dwindled some. And I know that the county installs those free of charge. Is that something we need to look at changing?
I think there could probably be discussion on that. Our policy now is that for every 80 acres, we will install up to a 40-foot culvert. I think it's 30 to 36-inch in diameter or 30-inch in diameter. Anything larger than that or wider than that, they're responsible for. But you know, as of right now, we'll put in a 40-foot culvert for free per 80 acres, or if somebody's building a new house, they get a free entrance. A new oil field lease is kinda in our policy that we have, gets a new entrance.
You put in many single 40s, or you just start your 20s and just make your 40s that way?
Both. Last year, we ordered some 40-foot stock.
I was wondering if you ordered.
Yeah, they work nice, but they have to be hauled with the lowboy is the only problem. You know, if you're hauling a 12-inch by 40-foot pipe out there,
You gotta be pretty careful.
yeah, it's kind of a hassle hauling that way, but I like the 40-foot pipes, but they're hard to get out. But you're not having that connecting band, you know, I mean, 40 years down the road, that's when they fail, they're gonna fail right
Where the band is.
where the band is.
I know we've touched on that a time or two.
Yeah.
Just surface it for the rest. Something to think about. I mean, I don't know exactly what that cost is, you know.
Yeah.
Probably can't nail it.
I had it figured a couple of years ago, I don't recall off the top of my head, but I could work on that over the next few weeks, and some point we can have some more discussion on it.
Well, I know you've been expressing a concern on equipment, upgrade of it, you know. If we change that policy, does that help put money into that budget? Is there enough there to?
No.
No, okay,
Probably not.
okay.
You know,
This 100,000, if you took out what's needed on the roads, I suppose it's not that significant what's going for landowners too.
out of this 100,000, I mean, I'd say probably, I don't know, maybe 20%'s gonna go for crossroad culverts, at least, and then the rest are probably entrance culverts, and
I see, okay.
if I'm just guessing off the top of my head.
I thought it might be the other way, you know.
Very little of it's for new installs though.
I mean,
Okay,
a small handful.
okay.
Most of them are just replacements. You know, a lot of them are people who have narrow entrances that's been there for 30 years, and their farm equipment's bigger. They need a wider entrance to go into a property, and as of right now, the county will go in and put, you know, if they got a 20-foot entrance, we'll take it out, or we'll add on to it if it makes sense. But most times we're putting in new culverts.
I fully understand where you're going to, Tom, and I fully appreciate that discussion that we've just had. I myself probably had a little trouble, you know, charging 20% of the cost, or 30% of the cost.
Well, every
When it's a new
county
resident-
approaches it differently.
When it's a different, you know, a new residency, or maybe
Yeah.
it's changed hands or something.
I mean, every county's got a little different policy. You know, some they have it figured up that their landowner's gonna pay the cost of equipment and any materials. You know, if somebody, the way we're set up now, they just pay the cost of a secondary, if there's a secondary interest, they just pay for the cost of the pipe only, and the county does the labor and the rock. If you want to have more discussion at some point, I mean, I can give you guys a copy of
If it's not of a major cost, then I would.
At this time, it's
I
probably
wouldn't
not.
worry- I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
My thoughts.
Okay, motion 2023-38 has been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
All right, thank you. Next would be an invitation to bid for assorted tires. This is a similar type deal. At least once or maybe twice a year, we put together a tire order. I don't have an estimated cost on this one. I was trying to get that, but I didn't get that in time this morning.
Probably gonna be hard to hit that, pinpoint that tire cost right now.
Yeah.
Do you guys run 24.5s? Or are they low pro 24.5s, like 285?
Yes, I believe so.
There's gonna be I would suggest if you guys buy any more new trucks, you go down to a 22.5.
Okay, well, he was discussing something about that the other day.
I've heard talk that they're talking about cutting back on the production of
They've already
low
shut,
24.
they already shut talls and lows down. The top three have. Yeah, you can't hardly find a 24.5 out on the road, unless it's a double coin Chinese tire.
Right.
So anyway, that just word of advice later on down
Okay.
the road. Motion 2023-39, move to approve the road and bridge superintendent request to solicit formal bids for assorted tires, funds to be paid from Road and Bridge Fund.
I'll move.
Go ahead, Wade.
I'll second that.
Moved by McCurry, seconded by Thompson. Any discussion?
Yeah, what is it, just local bids, or do you go?
Local bids for the most, they do local and then they do some non-local
Okay, I was
also.
just curious.
Yeah,
That's all.
You specify brand or?
yes,
Do you?
Okay,
yeah.
okay, very good.
Yeah, to get the same bids, I mean, we're
Right,
brand,
right.
we're specific with the numbers, and so everybody's bidding the same,
Or they want the Ching Chang brand.
right?
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
All right, thank you. Next, I have, this is a yearly report that goes to the state. It's the annual engineers, road supervisors report. This will be for Coffee County. This is something that we've done forever. Basically, it just kind of shows where we've spent some of our money in Coffee County on maintenance and construction costs. So I'll just kind of highlight what's in this report here. So for asphalt road maintenance, we spent $1.8 million last year. In gravel road maintenance, we spent $2.8 million. In bridge maintenance, we spent almost $40,000. So that'd be maintenance total of $4.6 million. Road construction, we had $393,000. And so yeah, so that's our construction cost and maintenance cost for last year.
There wasn't one in our book, we try to get a copy of that.
Sure. Yeah, we can get you guys a copy of this so you can look over.
Speaking of road maintenance, I drive it several times, it's at 19th. The second bridge west of the curve where the crane tipped over and, got the big rock
Yeah.
piled there. Is there anything we can do
Yeah,
on that
they-
east lip?
I'm hoping we can mill that down, them approaches down, and
Man, that thing, well, you know you're speeding
yeah,
when your
it's,
tires come off the ground.
well,
I mean, that's just.
Yeah,
Your back
no,
tires
we-
come off the ground.
discussing that some last week about trying to get something done there. Probably similar, we did something similar out here east of town, out by Shetland on that bridge out there. We had the approaches milled down and, brought down. So, yeah, that one's getting bad.
Is that abutment settled, or is it before that?
I think it's where the chipping starts.
Yeah, 'cause we don't put anything on our structures anymore. So when we're chipping, if you got 2 or 3 chips,
Isn't there a concrete approach up to that bridge? That's all it's
no, it's asphalt approach.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it just gets taller.
Yeah, they get built up over time, and I guess, gotta go in and mill it down and,
Seal it or something.
Yeah.
Lay it back or something.
yeah.
Feather it into the.
But no, we were talking about that last week, actually.
It's a doozy,
Yeah.
especially the one time. But, and I'm assuming 75 highway, the state is aware that the culvert out there is getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and that's a new culvert in there, that it's just settled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
would,
afraid if they go in now, it's gonna be a ski jump instead of
yeah.
an indention. Yeah, so
675 north of Vito to Linda. That's not Coffee County, but
Yeah.
you talk about a 14-mile rough, 75. I seen a surveyor out there 2-3 weeks ago,
they've gotta do something.
so they may be looking at it, but there's a stretch there that's terrible.
Right.
It's pretty rough. Those bridges are falling to pieces. I don't think they can patch them
That
fast
one,
enough.
one bridge they put to Linda, they took there was a big dip there at the bridge.
Right.
They overfilled it, going north, they still haven't done nothing coming south.
Yeah.
You better be prepared.
Last thing I got is just, FYI, our shoulder spraying, we spray 37 miles a year in county. I talked with Todd out at Noxious Weed, and he's gonna spray that instead of us. From now on, we'll just reimburse the chemical cost to him. And he's got better equipment than what we have, so something we've been working on, and he agreed to do it for now, so.
Keeps you out of hot water.
Yeah.
Puts them in the sink, or puts them in the pot. doesn't it?
Well, they're licensed out there. We've never had a licensed sprayer, so it's probably better that, somebody out there is doing our spraying, so.
Works.
All right. that's all I
Thank you,
got.
sir.
All right.
A couple of things, Ryan.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to talk to M over at Garnett on the 31, the 58?
Not yet.
Rich, okay.
Nope.
I'd like to know where they're standing at on. the
Yeah, I
project.
called and left a message, it's on my to-do list to call again. I had another, landowner was wanting to contact him down there, so. But,
That day that Steve and I talked to him, they had them on our map, but they showed
Yeah.
on the film,
yeah,
but he didn't have any.
I don't think
he
there's a
didn't have any
project on
discussion
58
points
from what
on it.
I've heard.
So,
Say that again.
I don't think there's a project there that I'm aware of, but I'll see if I can find out.
okay.
All right.
Thank you, Ron.
Yep, have a good day.
Thanks, Ryan.
Take care, Ryan.
10:30. Interim Health Department Administrator, Katie Rich. You're on deck, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going? So, it looks like we have an interview today at 2 p.m., and I was hopeful that I might be able to go in executive session with the board and hopefully with Wade to discuss the interview process, if that would be all right.
Didn't have the weird agenda, but you do.
Okay.
I'm not
2
sure
o'clock.
the
Wade.
interview process.
No, it's
The
not the right.
interview
okay.
itself
The interview itself, okay.
is,
Is executive session, okay,
right,
okay,
but the process, I'm not sure
okay.
would fit. But you and I can talk about that,
Okay, that's fine.
so.
Okay, so the other, I guess, thing to talk about would be the wage. Would you discuss that in open session or in executive? Because there's been a lot of talk about that, potentially when we do select this person or persons for the RN position and then
I think after the interview.
after the interview.
Figure out
Okay.
whether that's something that.
Very good. All right, so who should I expect today at the interview? Would it be the whole board? Do we know how that?
I'm not gonna be able to
Okay.
attend today,
All right.
sorry.
That's okay. No, I thought I better ask, so I know.
I'd like to, but
Yep.
got a
And I need to be able
committee
to,
meeting I gotta go to this
Okay.
afternoon.
that's all right. I just need to be able to tell the individual too where we're meeting, so.
So.
You have a set of questions, Kay, that
Yes,
we,
I brought
that we
those.
can
Mhm.
sit and
Yes.
go over during that time, okay?
Yep, I do have those, and I actually submitted them to Wade too via email, so I've got that. Just need to know what to do this afternoon at 2, where to meet, and who might be there, and if there's anything else you guys need from me.
I can't be there.
Okay,
I can make it happen.
okay. 1 or 2 at least would be nice, because
Right.
if this is gonna be, the director, you guys would be her, yeah,
Right.
who she's looking to,
I
so,
can be there.
can be there,
If
okay.
there's gonna be 3, we gotta stay in session, right?
I'm back in session.
We'll be back in session at X time.
What do you recommend?
I mean, my thought was, I didn't know who was gonna be there from the board, but, it sounds like 3 of you.
Can be.
It don't have to be 3.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't have to either.
I think having as many of you as possible is the best course of action, since
Yeah.
you will ultimately be their supervisor, direct report, Katie and myself.
Well, I have no problem coming back in the session at whatever time.
1:45, 1:50, something like that, probably, I'd say.
Then we normally, we've been doing them down there in, where we have our
Yeah, okay.
executive sessions.
That's what I assumed, I just wanted to make sure I could tell my applicant.
Yeah, they can sit down there in the chairs outside the office, and then you can come up here, and then we'll recess down to,
Okay,
executive session.
sounds very good, okay. And I think, so I submitted my letter of resignation to Angie, so I think you guys have all read that, so my last day.
We denied it.
Okay, you denied it?
Yeah, that's right.
Dang, I hate it when my rights get taken away. No,
We're
so
gonna
May
keep you
12th
here
will
and
be.
you don't know it.
What's that?
We're gonna keep you
I'm
here and
stuck,
you don't know
yeah.
it.
Well, I'll be in Coffee County, I don't plan on leaving. No, so May 12th, as you read, is my last day, So there were a few requests that I had placed in the letter, or proposals, if you will, to be able to maintain doing like silly things people might think, but like foot care, it's sincerely lacking in Coffee County because now we don't have a podiatrist. So I have 32 people that I'm trimming toenails on. That's a lot of people. It's a lot. So, and it needs to be typically a nurse that does that. Not to say people's family members don't get it done or things of that nature. That happens. But I've been doing that. And then I would like to be considered to continue on with the community baby shower. It's something that I've done since 2017 because I'm a SIDS prevention educator in the state of Kansas and the only one in Coffee that I know of right now. So I feel like it's a very important event for new and young parents and the infants, and it would be in September. I've already secured the grant funds for it. It comes through our maternal child health grant that we do. We have to have some matching funds, but a lot of our grants are that way. That's not new. We're used to that coming out of our budget. So if I could stay on and do things like that on Tuesdays maybe when I'm off of my new position, I would like to be considered. I just hate to see things stop. And then if they can be handed off, that's great. You know, I'm not trying to...
Just want to see them continue.
Yeah, I just want to see them continue. And then the water safety event that I secured grant funds for through the KDHE injury prevention grant, I think I can hand most of that off. But again, those would be the three things. The toenails are huge. I'm the only one in the office that does it. Not a big money maker. It's a $10 cash visit, or if it's a hardship, then it's $0. But it needs to be done. People can fall if they're trying to bend forward and do things they shouldn't be doing, or cut themselves, and then we've got real medical issues on our hands. So infections, diabetes. Yeah, diabetes complicates that. So it's a simple thing, but it can go south.
1 day a week then?
1 day a week, yep. And so I would communicate directly with my office staff, you know, and say, hey, set me up for Tuesdays, you know, from 9 to 3 or what have you, and I could use a room and do those services. So
Which is kind of the role you were in to begin with before.
Just a nurse.
Innocent.
Yeah.
In a sense, correct?
Yep.
Just so everybody knows
Mhm.
that was kind of...
Purely patient
Cheers.
services. Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's morphed into a lot more. Mhm.
And a special thank you for what you've done for the county.
Oh.
Over the years, we look forward to continuing that one-day
Yeah.
communication or
Yep.
working together.
Maybe I can again. Yeah, I got to take a little break. You know, I know everybody probably understands that. That's just life sometimes. So
Sure.
I'm in a spot in life where I need to be more present with my family and at the farm and stuff. So
Very good.
Yeah.
Understand.
But I'll be around. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
having me.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you, Katie.
Katie, the position you're talking about, is that already contained within the TOO for the health department?
The position that I'm speaking of in taking?
Right.
No, so that's why I was asking for contract labor only, if that's even a possibility. So it wouldn't even be, it would literally be 1 day a week and maybe not even 8 hours. So that is something that's what I mean, we gotta consider, and it would just be hour by hour work. I can scrunch it all in as tight as I can, and maybe there's a limit on it, I get that. But right now, you don't have another nurse that'll do the toenails, so then we leave 32 people without it. So that's why I was, asking.
You
Yeah.
say one day a week?
1 day a week, I think, maybe even just 2 or 3 days a month, I'm not sure at this point.
So if there were an agreement put together that had a cap
Mhm.
per month
Yes.
with a monthly stipend, is that something that, I'm just trying to figure out how to...
Sure. I don't know if I feel comfortable with a stipend, only because it's on an as-needed basis, you know, and then if I wasn't working very many hours, does that make sense? So it's on
You'd rather by the hour.
I'd rather just, what we usually do for our contract help, because we do have providers that come in, and gals who help do phlebotomy when we need extra hands, and so they just do a voucher, and it's just, you know, on that hourly basis. So if I work for 5 hours, I get paid for 5 hours. It's a very manual process, but it's, I don't know with the new time clocks and all that, if that's gonna change
When you
anything.
use our payroll system, though,
Right.
if you're not an actual employee,
Right.
unless you're a 1/5 employee a week,
Right.
so that way you would still be on, you'd just be 1/5.
And that's fine too. I think whatever I would say it's easiest with,
Well, then the other side of that is liability.
That's where I was heading.
If you're not a county employee and something happens,
Sure.
who are you covered by?
Correct. Well, and I have malpractice insurance individually as a registered nurse. I do have that, but yeah, again, in your building, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
would you be interested in doing 1 day a week,
Mm-hmm.
every week? And whether these certain services were needed or not, do other things in the health department, or?
I probably could. I'll probably have to look at that, because I don't know if I can commit to a
Okay.
full 8-hour day, 9-hour day that
Okay,
Tuesday.
Or 6, or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause I don't know
just
what-
trying to figure out a way.
Yep. I don't want to break any rules. I'm pretty black and white, so if it needs me to be 8 or 9 hours, then I don't know if I can do that. And I
Okay.
also don't want to sit and do nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that that
Okay.
would probably happen, but.
Well, maybe cleanest to create
Mhm.
another part-time position under the TOO and have a maximum hours per month, but then it's under the canopy of the county.
Okay. That might be
Like
helpful, because I'll
so
still be
you
practicing medically.
Have that protection,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
Mhm.
I don't want you at risk, and I don't want the county at risk either, you know, I mean, so.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, and I
Gotta
hadn't
cover
considered that with
everybody's bases.
contractual.
Yeah.
And we do have medical providers that come in for like family planning, you know, and they aren't, you know, employees per se, they're contract only, but, yeah. I did not consider that, so, and we at least have time to discuss it. That's why I tried to give quite a bit of notice, so we had time to talk about
Yeah.
some options. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Can you put together proposed job duties and responsibilities?
Sure, I can do that. Mhm. I can do that. Any other concerns?
Sure hate you're leaving.
I do too, yeah. So, I'll need a box of Kleenex on the way out, I promise, yeah. Yep. All right, guys, gals,
Thank you very much,
Yep.
Katie.
thank you.
We will see you at,
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
1:45,
1:45,
and I will
yeah.
bring the person with me, correct, up here, and then go
Just
down
leave
for
them
executive?
down, just
Oh,
leave them
down. Okay.
downstairs
Very good.
in the hallway there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I believe we're at round table.
I've got something, we've got, 2 students from Waverly High School, and they're here on a, why don't you kids step up and introduce yourselves? Is that all right, Jess?
Yeah, that's fine.
Why, sure.
I'm Coy Myers.
And what are you guys doing, I mean, what's your, this is a,
We're just sitting in, I don't really have a name.
Government day or something?
Or this is for a government class. We just took off school to come and get some points. We need 80 or 85 points, can't remember which, to basically graduate, because it's 500 points. So if we fail it, we basically fail the class.
so you've got to go to a lot of meetings.
Well, meetings are like, you get the most points out of meetings.
Right.
And I've been to the Waverly Student Council, but I haven't been here, and you can't go to the same meeting twice, so. Yeah, we've made some questions, because that'll add 10 points to what our 15 we would be getting already. So, my first question would just be, why are you building, new parking, more parking? Just
We're gonna be building a new jail out here on the west parking lot. Correctional jail facility and sheriff's office, and so that's gonna take 3/4 of our main parking that we have to the west, so we need more parking to the north,
Okay.
or somewhere close.
Do you need to write that down?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure he's watching. And, 2 would be, what do you guys like about being a commissioner? That's a tough question. Or what do you dislike?
Well, that's an easier question, but not necessarily proper. I mean, myself, I look at it as a duty to the county, to the taxpayers of my district, or each district, to ensure that their tax dollars are looked after, and my tax dollars are looked after and handled professionally. And, the challenge. That's me.
I would have to somewhat echo that. The challenge is the main reason I came here. And I often tell people, in the last 4 years, I've learned a lot about myself and how I can better myself, as well as hopefully better the county for the future, for you kids and everybody else's kids, and everybody can, doesn't have to travel somewhere to work, and that's hopefully the main reason for the CHIPS plant and all the other things that I've been passionate about and helped get going.
Thank you.
I would echo everything they both said. A lot of people at this point are dissatisfied with government, especially mostly at the federal level. I hear most people complaining, and I'm not gonna be a professional politician, but if we don't all aren't willing to get in and do our part and do what we can do, then I don't know that we'd ought to waste our time complaining. So I wasn't looking for a job. I'm trying to add something to our county, which was my goal.
I really can't add anything to what our three commissioners have already said. I've only had 2 jobs in my life. I managed a co-op there in Leroy for 36 years. We had 1,000 members. I like to work with employees. I like to work with membership like that. And this here is something similar to what that is. You know, we got 8,000 people live in Coffee County. We got 150 employees, and it is a challenge. And someone has to step up and take that challenge to work with county people or anybody. And I can't add any more to what Jesse and Tom Wade has already said. That I enjoy the opportunity to be a commissioner, and so good luck in your future too.
Thank you.
And Wade and I are both new on the job, but I concur with what the other commissioners say. It's a public service. I enjoy working with people, always have. I've been in the public for most of my life, and this is really no different than working with the general public in the businesses that we've been in. And I feel like that I can offer some time and hopefully some knowledge to the betterment of the county. I hope. That's my goal.
Thank you. And number 3 is, what is an executive session?
All that Wade filled that.
Oh, I gave them that question to ask.
Oh, yeah. Well, executive session goes where you are to protect an individual. That way it's not being spoke about in the public if there's an issue, or talk about job performance of a department when there's a department head in here wanting an executive session. So, I mean, it's to talk about non-elected personnel. All your elected personnel information needs to be out in the open public because you're an elected official. So, you know, anybody that's an employee or a department head can be into the executive session. Right? Wade?
Yeah.
Shaking.
One clarification.
Okay.
Non-elected personnel has to be about an individual, not multiple individuals, not an entire group.
Right.
It's individual only, and that's where some people get a little confused about it, but there are a number of different reasons you can go into executive session, but quite a few of you can't. So.
Another example would be, say the county wants to buy a piece of property. Well, we can't come in here in open session and say, hey, we want to go buy this piece of property, and somebody runs out and beats us to it. I mean, there's certain things that we can't disclose for business reasons, or that just can't be let known public yet, but there's lots of restrictions on what that is, but that would be another example. Conflicting interests like that.
I got it. Thank you, that's all I got.
Very good.
So you think Mr. Piper's watching you?
Oh, I know he
There's a meeting Wednesday night, zoning and planning board meeting, Wednesday night here at the bottom of the courthouse.
City council meetings you can go to, lots of different things. Yeah.
The zoning and planning meeting, it's, 7 o'clock down in the basement, and it's, quite a bit of discussion coming up on that one, so, might interest you.
Thank you.
I'm Kira Cheyenne,
Hi.
and if it's okay, I have a few questions to ask you guys.
Sure.
One of my questions is, why did you guys decide to build a new jail?
Well, what is ours, 1970, early 70s model?
84.
84, okay. Numbers, we have to send out, bad guys to other facilities because we don't have room to house them here.
Yeah.
Which is at the expense of the taxpayers. If there's more than one person in jail together, they can't be in the same house, they have to be housed separately, so they can't correspond with each other, keep them separated. So that's, I mean, those are some of the reasons. HVAC, plumbing, there's a lot of reasons.
I'd say one of the main reasons is outdated facility, what we have.
Safety.
Safety is a major issue for the jailers, dispatch, as well as inmates. So we need to protect all those involved. And we did form a board, and I forget the terminology we used for our
Jail committee.
ad hoc committee, that got together and did a lot of discovery and contemplating as to whether or not to actually build a facility. And there's a group of business owners and private individuals all got together and had several meetings, and at their advice is why we proceeded ahead to do this and send it to the taxpayers to vote on as to whether or not we built one or not. And they, I believe, I don't remember what the percentage was. It was in great favor that everybody voted for the new facility, so we let everybody have a say in it.
There's 14%, 14% difference between the approval and disapproval.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty strong message that, the county did need to proceed ahead, so.
This decision was made before I came on, but I just view it as part of our county moving forward. We want to be proactive. That's how I view it, needed facility.
My next question is, why did you guys want to become a commissioner? I know he already asked that, but...
For me, again, I would say it was a challenge. I needed a challenge. And I think as an individual, you need to challenge yourself as often as you can. Better yourself, hopefully better the community at the same time. I'll say it again, in the last 4.5 years, I've learned a lot about myself, and I wake up every morning hoping to be a better person I was the day before.
Another question I have, when's the closest court, session coming up?
Where you go to court
Yeah,
every Wednesday and every Thursday. So
Okay.
Wednesday is magistrate court, Thursday is district court. The magistrate judge can hear cases up through a preliminary hearing, which is a probable cause hearing for a felony, where the magistrate can hear small claims, limited actions, which are not on Wednesdays, but anything related to criminal traffic cases, speeding, anything to do with a license, drunk driving, that type of thing, any misdemeanor crimes, so domestic battery, misdemeanor drug charges, possession of marijuana, paraphernalia, and then all felonies up through a probable cause hearing or a magistrate court. Juvenile cases involving crimes for those who are under 18 years of age, magistrate can hear. Child needed care cases, which are abuse and neglect cases, magistrate judge can hear. Care and treatment cases, which deal with someone who is a danger to themselves or others, a magistrate judge can hear, and then a district judge hears everything else. So any jury trial would be to a district court judge. Any felony case that has a resolution will be to a district court judge. Divorce, and a number of other things. So
Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, and then my final question is, what year did the Coffee County Commissioners start?
Gee whiz.
1885, I think, is when it was established.
Is that when it went?
I think 1885.
1885.
Was that in Burlington?
I would assume it would be when the county itself was formed,
Established,
so
yeah.
would that be, like he said, 1885?
The county seat was in Leroy, wasn't it? At one time down
I'm
there?
sorry?
Was the
County seat
in
County seat was Leroy at one time. Leroy started in I think it was 1861. And, you know, the reason it moved to Burlington, I have no idea, don't know the history on that part of it. But Leroy did start out, that's just like Neosho Falls in Woodson County. There's not too many people live in Neosho Falls, probably, and at one time it had 3,500 citizens in Neosho Falls, and it was a county seat. And what year it moved to Wichita County seat, I can't answer that either. But there's lots and lots of history in all these counties, it's just different, and, yeah, Neosho Falls used to have 3,500 people, but that's back in, you know, I can't even tell you, 1920, 1925, 1930. The floodwater pretty well took care of that in 48, 51, and 61.
Yeah.
In 51, there was only one house in Neosho Falls, didn't have water in it, one house. And, you know, that time they switched over to Woodson County, I can't say, probably, I'm sure it was before 1951. But there's a huge amount of history in Neosho Falls, even though there's not much there anymore. Still a lot of good people live there. They got a small post office that's open a couple hours a day. They got a community center, and
We still have a little bar and grill.
a little bar and grill, but it's closed half the time.
Is it?
I don't even know whether it's open
Yeah.
or not, but there just isn't too much in Neosho Falls now, and that's in a different county. But there's huge amounts of history in Neosho Falls.
If I recall, and I might not be correct, in the history of between Leroy and Burlington, weren't the records stolen in the middle of the night or something and brought here and stolen and took back or something to that effect, wasn't
I
there?
can't get into that subject, I don't know.
Well, I thought I read that somewhere that, maybe some of the records got lost in a fire or different things happened, so lots of things happened in history.
I forget what year it was, but Leroy had the governor for 2 years. Out of Leroy, I don't remember the name of but they've got I can't say the word, a mural on the north side of that one building, driving through 58. There's huge amounts of history on that painting that was done by a man here in Burlington, just like Waverly. You got your, I can't say the right word,
Mural.
Steve, can you help me out?
Mural.
I can't get, a lot of words I don't pronounce very good. You got a mural there in Waverly that's got history to it, so.
Yeah.
That goes back to the Ohio days.
Yeah,
I mean, good.
Thank you.
And what was your name again?
Kira,
Kira? Kira, okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you the only two students that's participating in this project?
Whole class is.
The whole class is?
Good luck to you on that.
What?
Good luck to you on it.
Like I say, Wednesday there'll be a zoning meeting downstairs in the basement. So, starts at 7 o'clock. I don't think you can answer any question or ask any questions, but you can show up and be I think they take a roll call, don't they?
Mhm.
Don't you write down who showed up, so there'd be a list that you could see.
Yeah.
Yep. Take
They'll
notes.
be able to let the parents and grandparents be filled in on what's going on,
Yep.
without having to attend.
Right.
I'm glad to have you come back sometime if you like.
Wayne, do you have any roundtable for us today, sir?
I do.
I figured.
A lot of probably the changes between locations, the county seats, my guess would be, goes back to politics, because those type of things usually mean somebody wanted something, and you had, because I think in Allen County you had Iola and Humboldt that went back and forth, and I think you find a number of different places where politics and who was in what position made a difference.
Well, it's just like Burlingame. Burlingame thought they was gonna be the capital. That's why they had big super wide streets and everything, brick.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really, wasn't aware of that.
I didn't realize that.
Alright, so now it's time to hand things up.
I figured you'll probably take us to noon.
I can usually do a good job of that.
Yes, you can.
So what I'm handing out is what will be Resolution 2021-877A. It's a resolution that you have seen, well, some of you have seen before. Going back in time a little bit, this deals with the treasurer's salary, and the motor vehicle funds. So this is really an amendment or an update to the prior resolution that sort of clarifies some issues. So right now, at the request of the current treasurer, Richard Kroll, he has the ability under KSA 8-145 to receive the state motor vehicle funds, and the statute says it can't be any more than $15,000. But there's a formula, and we won't go into the formula. If you look in paragraph 6 of what I handed you, it has what those amounts are for 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. So it averages around $10,200 for Coffee County. And each county will be different, but as you can tell, it's pretty much the same year to year for Coffee County. So the treasurer has requested, instead of receiving that amount, which he is entitled to under KSA 8-145, he's requested that that money be pooled back into the general fund, and then that he be given the $10,200 on top of his base salary for being the treasurer. They're two separate things, and this is what this resolution does or creates. So in paragraph 8, it talks about the base salary is subject to adjustment at the same percentage or amount as regular county employees if that's your COLA raise. But then in the next paragraph it says the compensation under 8-145 is not subject to that adjustment. That's really all this does is clearing that up.
So what if, and I know it's not gonna happen, but what if the motor vehicle tax goes to $8,000 or $6,000 or $5,000? The treasurer would still be getting paid the $10,200.
Well, that's why it gets reviewed each year, because each year it's gonna be.
Oh, this is a yearly, this would be.
It's not, I mean, as you can tell, keeping track of it, it's not really changed much other than by a few dollars. So if it becomes an issue, it can be brought back up.
So what is wrong with just taking the motor vehicle tax?
What do you mean?
What's wrong with him just taking the motor vehicle tax?
He could, instead
of making a resolution and have to do it every year,
I mean, that's, I think, and I don't wanna speak for him.
Is he wanting an average salary? Is that
Instead
what it's
of-
basing on?
Right, so it gets added to a monthly paycheck instead of a one-time check, which would be, what, December of
Each year.
each year. So,
But did he not run for the treasurer's position knowing how it worked? I mean, that's,
well, at the time and historically, going back several treasurers, this is what was done.
mhm.
So, historically in Coffee County, this was the arrangement. We just had to revamp and update the resolution based on, but what you're saying is correct. And if the board decides this isn't what they want to do, and they just want it to go back to, in December, the treasurer requests the motor vehicle fund monies under 8145, that can be done. Now, the tricky part right now is we're partway through a calendar year, so we'd have to go back and redo it. Now, if that is something that you want to consider, I would suggest in December revisit and then maybe start out the new calendar year, because that's where it starts. It's not.
We're basically 5 months into the year, and I'm not for changing tires that don't need changed. If it's working the way it's working right now, I'd leave it like it is. Because we all know this has been a hot topic within the county for several years.
What's the advantage of, I mean, what's the pros and the cons?
He's receiving the money monthly versus one time.
Yeah.
Right, so is that a cleaner way to do it then? I guess
Well, I mean, how this came about was years and years ago, and I wasn't here. Angie can probably tell you the history on prior treasurers electing to pool the motor vehicle fund money into the general fund, and I think it goes back to, 1992 or somewhere in that neighborhood.
Well, it was, yeah, probably, even before that, maybe, but, yeah.
So then there was an agreement, and then from that point forward, there wasn't anything in writing, and successing treasurers came in, and it was, I guess, the equivalent to a handshake agreement, where that was what had been done before. And I would assume, and I know assuming is not very good, but to have a paycheck each month that captured whatever that amount would be, gave somebody maybe more financial knowledge of what they were going to be getting, instead of waiting until the end of a calendar year and then having a lump sum check. So that,
excuse me, go ahead. That would tax-wise be an issue, is that getting this lump sum at the end?
That I don't know. That's the.
I bet it would, just.
You know, that might be a reason.
So then, that continued until, a new treasurer came aboard and asked for the lump sum amount, and it turned into, litigation, and then.
Was that amount larger than this then?
No,
At that time?
I think the amounts have been pretty much the same, but what was happening is the treasurer, at that point in time, was receiving a salary that, my understanding is, already took into consideration this motor vehicle fund money, and then on top of that requested the additional money under KSA 8-.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I understand.
So that had to be addressed through the court system. It was, and in response, I mean, some will say, some have an issue with this, which is fine, but it is being open, clear, and transparent about why the money, the motor vehicle fund money under KSA 8-145 is being addressed the way that it is. It's not doing anything different, it's not giving anybody anything extra, it's just distributing it in a different way at the request of the treasurer. So it sets forth why it's being done, how it's being done, what those figures are, what the average is, and that the motor vehicle fund money is not subject to cost of living raises. The motor vehicle fund money is a state motor vehicle fund that is calculated based on the number of, it has its own formula that the state deals with, the treasurer's office deals with that formula. I think, I don't have it here with me, I have the calculations in my office for 1 year, and it shows you how it's all calculated, and it stays the same year to year for the most part, and you get to a certain number, and then I think it ends up being $5 more if you have an additional registration.
So it's gonna stay pretty consistent no matter what the numbers do.
Well, that's why I put the numbers on
Yeah.
there so you could see it. In 2017, 10,170, 99. 2018, 10,210, and that's where it fluctuates.
But if our population grew significantly, it's still, once it reaches a certain count number, it's not gonna increase by much after that.
It may increase some. Now, the person who can tell you how that formula applies and what that would look like would be the treasurer. But I don't think if it increases significantly, the cap is $15,000. That it cannot be any more than $15,000 by statute.
And we could change this back if it became an issue.
Sure.
You know, there's no question that 6 years there, it's been so consistent at $10,200. My thought is, if I was a treasurer here, I'd like to have my monthly income.
I agree.
Basically the same. That way you can set your budget for what a family has each month. That $10,200 is exactly $850. So, you know, if it was added here at the year end, and when we make the decision, I'd rather not move it here in the middle of the year. But some good point when it work for our treasurer as well as the county, move a 10-2. Chances are if that 10-2 moves in the next 5 to 10 years because of what is being proposed, it'll move up, but it'll move up real slow. You know, say you have another 500 vehicles come in because of population increase. Even that's not gonna increase that 10-2 very much. It may go up $300 or $400. But the 10-2 now appears to be a good figure to work with, and to me, it's something we need to entertain and take a serious look at.
I don't
Making
see
the
harm.
employees' wages identical every month like our other 11 or 12 department heads are.
Is that counted, if it's rolled over into a salary, is it counted differently on your, like your capers and stuff like that, retirement with the county?
I'm not sure.
Papers sees it as income.
For the
Still,
total year.
at once a year, they would still look at it rather than monthly?
No, it's reported monthly.
Right, it would be reported monthly if it was a monthly check, the $10,000. But if it's recorded once at the end of the year,
Would the end result be?
would the end result be the same?
Still
or
be
is
the
it
same
different?
percentage, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, still be the same percentage.
Okay, so the contribution.
And I don't know,
would
but
be
I'd
the same.
assume it'd be the same
Yeah, the
percentage.
contribution amount.
So that figure, I would assume, will not change.
I'm just trying to make
Okay.
sure that the benefit is only to have it monthly versus yearly. Because we will hear every benefit,
Yeah.
every reason that it's gonna benefit.
Yeah, my phone will be on.
But what he's doing, he's putting this into the general fund, and then we're just taking it back out as a salary.
We're paying him monthly, and we're paying him monthly for it, and the county's getting reimbursed at the end of the year.
Right.
Now, there's absolutely no way it's ironclad, still can't come back and say, by gosh, I want the $10,000, this was figured into my salary.
So, you can't stop somebody from pursuing litigation for whatever reason, but this is what the current county treasurer requested. There's a letter that is attached to, I believe, the original resolution where this is something that you requested. Now, if you have a new treasurer, then you would need to let's say, for example, the current county treasurer said, you know what, I'm gonna go on, I need to step away, and then you had a new treasurer come in, then you would need to revisit this, because this is person specific for, I mean, it has the current treasurer's name, because this was his request. You might have him come in, and if you want, have him maybe address and explain his intent. But in paragraph 5, current treasurer Richard Kroll has formally and voluntarily requested to the board that the extra compensation be reallocated to the general fund and that a total compensation package for the treasurer be established.
I so move.
To me, that paragraph 7's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's been a thorn in everybody's side for a long time, and I mean, I'm all for making it simple.
This makes it simple.
And as long as it makes it simple, I mean, other than having to remember to do it every year, is the downfall.
I think it'll help him, I mean, as far as on a monthly basis, I just think it cleans things up.
And do we wanna do it now, or do we wanna do it January 2024?
You know, a date that he had in mind to change it, Wade?
Well, I think we need to do this now, because all it does is just clean up the last resolution. It's not changing anything, it's just cleaning it up.
Well, starting when would we do that, though, is what the question.
When he came on board as an elected official, when we did it the first time.
Yep.
But I mean now, when do we implement this?
It's today.
Yeah. Maybe.
We're gonna split it though amongst the remaining 6 or 7 months though?
No, we're not splitting that.
No,
We're not changing anything.
This is already being done, so it's not changing the current practice.
Okay,
It's
I didn't
amending
understand
the
that.
resolution to differentiate between, what's subject to a COLA raise and what isn't, and then just sort of tweaking some of the words, and then adding in paragraph 6, the updated or most recent figures, because we didn't have that until beginning of 2023, what the numbers were for 2022. So each year, adding those numbers.
So it's already being done on a monthly basis
Yes.
this year?
Yes.
Okay, that's not what my understanding of it was. I thought we weren't doing it, we were trying to decide if and when we wanted to start doing that.
No. So resolution 2021-877 is what established this to begin with, when the current treasurer took office.
Correct. Well, then I would second it then.
I guess,
Or
I don't know if that was an actual motion, if I could actually do that. I was just trying to get it off dead center, so to speak.
I guess I'm just a hair loss on that. If we kick it in now, starting May 1st, and add $850 to it for the next 8 months, he's actually lost 4 months of that $850.
It's already.
Well, I'm understanding he's already doing this.
Yeah, we're already paying that. We're based off the first resolution we did last year.
So he's already receiving the $850?
Yes, but all
Okay,
this is
all right.
doing is
I'm
saying.
sorry, I didn't.
This is just cleaning
This is
everything.
just
This is just cleaning
clarifying
everything
that
up.
we add the percent on
Yeah.
the base salary,
Okay.
not the 10,000 also.
I was the same as Dawn. I didn't realize he was already taking
Neither did I.
$850.
Yeah.
I thought that was a one-time pay at the end of the year, but it's a one-time pay back to the county.
Back to the county, yes.
Correct.
so.
Okay. I apologize if I didn't explain it very well.
You're fine, Wade, I just didn't. Good job.
The A next to the resolution number will always signify there's already a resolution in place and this is just an amendment to it.
Okay.
So if this got amended again, then it would be 877B, right?
Correct.
And then so on and so forth.
Correct. Well, I don't see any reason to not do it now, then, is there?
No, there's no reason not to do it, because it's not changing anything, it's already being done this way.
Okay.
Cleaning up the verbiage, so to speak.
Resolution 2021-877A, resolution concerning the salary of the Coffee County Treasurer. The current elected treasurer, Richard Kroll, has formally and voluntarily requested to the board that the extra compensation from the state motor vehicle fund be reallocated to general fund, and that a total compensation package for the treasurer be established.
Is that enough reading?
Is that enough reading?
And
It's gonna be an open record request.
You're adopting the resolution,
Yes.
so.
They can read it. So, resolution number 2021-877A.
So move.
I'd second that.
Moved by Hugo, seconded by Thompson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. I like that too.
Print another
I
copy.
need 2 copies.
You're gonna need-
Oh, yeah, we can do 2 copies. That way you can have the original.
Next.
I have something to hand out, but I'll talk about something first. So, in dealing with the building and some of the maintenance that goes with the building, so it's not as surprising, you know how I like to plant seeds. One of the seeds that needs to be planted, Modern Air, I believe it was Modern Air, was here checking out the county's HVAC system. My understanding, 2 of the 3 or possibly 4 compressors are failing. We only have, I believe, 1 that's operational, and I'm not sure how old the compressors are, but I would imagine they have some age on them, and those compressors will need to be replaced. We're in the process of getting bids on a bid on what it would take to replace the 2 compressors that are failing. Number 2 that goes with that same item, I guess there's coils that are also part of that system, and those coils are failing as well. So,
Should be about the same age.
Yeah, if you're getting one, you get the other, I would think.
the sticker shock is gonna be, probably quite a bit.
These are the ones out north side of the building.
Yes.
I seen them out there last week, looking at it.
Yeah.
Well, the intent was, when the jail was done, he was gonna do some remodeling here as well. So, knowing the age of most of this stuff would be great information, but I'm sure it'd be somewhat irrelevant when they're failing. And summertime's coming, we need to get it remedied, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just planting seeds, so it's not a surprise. I think it was just trying to address and figure out one issue, and as you know, one issue turns into multiple issues, and I guess the good news is they haven't all failed and failed in the middle of July, where the only relief you have is opening your window and putting up a fan.
Did they give you any indication as to availability in there from them, or, I mean, we're gonna get bids, but the stuff available?
Well, that's part of hopefully what's presented to me. So, just FYI.
I know I asked last summer when we was having this problem, it's cheaper to rebuild this thing once instead of one piece at a time, that it seems like we're doing. And I was told, no, it's that stuff out north's okay, it's not that old. Here we are,
Yeah,
7 months later, looking at replacing the whole dadgum thing.
so it may mean when they send in what the estimate is, that I meet with them and we have sort of a different conversation, because piecemealing replacement parts
Isn't working.
yeah, well, or what's the alternative? I mean, need someone who has more knowledge base than I have in that particular field to say, you know, when does it become cost effective to do one thing or another? And if you're replacing parts all the time, you could have bought a whole new unit, then, I mean, that's a different story. But if it makes more sense to fix these parts and they'll last and everything else, the integrity of the equipment is not a problem, then that's another thing.
So if there's 4, did you say 4 compressors?
I think, in my head, I'm thinking 3, and we have
Okay, so
one
is there 3 separate evaporators in the building, or are these things all work together? You know, maybe I'm asking a question that.
Well, I was told right now, operating on one compressor with what we have, it will be okay, but it's not the long-term remedy. We'll have to do something.
So I'm wondering now, do we need to, as it be out of my realm of any sort of knowledge on HVAC at all, do we need to hire some sort of HVAC engineer that knows all the terminologies and the what fors and where and whys, and put together a bid package for this, or?
But I think we need to figure out what it is that is the issue, and then from there can move forward. But it may need to have a plan similar to what they have for Road and Bridge for equipment replacement, because I don't know when these were, Angie may know, when that system was installed and what is the useful life of that type of system, and have a plan moving forward to at least have
Put a budget together.
Put a budget together for replacement of equipment into the future, because I'd imagine that's a pricey project, probably.
You know,
$300,000
when
or
they had the
$500,000.
compressors put out here, Angie?
The
Are you
air
looking?
conditioners,
Uh-huh.
that's what I'm looking at right now. I wanna say 09, that's what I'm guessing.
09?
I think so.
I thought it was
Coming up on 14, 15 years, yeah, that's probably about done.
What was the cost then?
Irrelevant.
Well, just.
Reference, right?
Well, we're gonna take side notes and see who gets closest to what's gonna cost.
Kidding.
HVAC air handling unit was $408,256. That was in 11, I'm sorry.
2011.
Yeah.
And that's that big thing out, system out on the north side of the building.
That's how much is that?
$408,000.
$256.
Over $1 million?
So,
Yeah, at least, wouldn't it be? It's probably doubled in the last 2 years.
So that would be a question for the, when you, if you wanna make credit, I mean, not that I know a whole lot about it, but that would be the curiosity, what is the normal life expectancy of some of that stuff? So,
yeah, I mean, 2011 seems new to me. I guess it's not. I mean, when you have some units, old units that were
70s
original,
are still going.
you buy a house and you have a air conditioner, and I know it's a smaller scale, but from 1978, and it's still.
Right.
You may have to put Freon in it. Now, we are gonna get a bill for Freon, and I'm not sure how many pounds of Freon that had to be pumped into our system, but it, just from prior experience on my own house, Freon is not cheap.
I know. And that doesn't work how you think. When it starts freezing up, that doesn't mean it's got too much in it, that means it doesn't have enough.
Yeah. So,
Residential.
so that was fun. Let's talk about the next thing.
It was a barrel fund.
We have 5 or 6 other accounts that we're putting money aside for investing down the road, so it'll be no different than having some here, so.
So you have your general fund capital outlay line.
Yeah.
You guys can sure. What I just handed you is the most recent invoice I received from Goldberg related to the jail construction project. And I figured this is, instead of just sending it through as a special issue or waiting until the end of the month, and this is, it's a bill for $160,632.63. It presents at the top of the page, construction cost estimate, fixture, furnishing, and equipment estimate. The total estimated construction amount of $26,864,329.33. Now, that was submitted at the end of March 2023, so I would assume that they've crunched numbers and that's where they think things are. I know, I don't remember when Larry and Joe from GGA, or not GGA, from River City were here, and, you know, the line from Jesse was not a dollar over 30 million. So I'm assuming, and again, we know what assuming does, that these are the figures that we're working with, but I don't know. So,
Well, you think you'd put something on there, you know, marking this out, this caused this, you know, kind of have a little bit of a background of what this document support, or that would support this document.
so I wanted to bring it to the board, so the board could decide on how you wanted to handle this invoice, and if, now that you see these figures and what these amounts are, whether you want to have Goldberg come in and explain where these figures come from.
Do you know if this figure includes the remodeling for the courthouse, which is projected to be 3?
It should all be part of the same project.
Should be.
That's my understanding, so.
Does our agreement with them specify when they're supposed to get paid for these?
I mean, I think,
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Well, there's a schedule of payout in our book that X by this, X
It's
by
just
this,
one-
X
it's
by
It'll be in
this.
by the
It's
20th
just
or the
once a month.
25th to get paid on the 10th of the following month.
Good. Yeah, I think it would be potentially helpful, maybe to even set up a Zoom call with Goldberg and he could answer questions that you may have about this invoice. I don't think it's an issue of the invoice getting paid, but you want to know what,
That's fine, I'm just.
or if you're okay with it, but I didn't want to sign off on it. As you see, it came to me. I'm not, this deals with,
Yeah, I don't, I mean, we haven't heard from him since we had that meeting. And he was supposed to go back and crunch his numbers and see where we were gonna come up on this with the removing the basement and moving it to the second level. And we haven't heard boo back from him, so I think at a minimum, a Zoom meeting
That would be great.
would be great to explain this document or new figure, explanation of new figures.
yep, that's why I wanted to bring it to you, and, you know, it's,
I know he's got a lot of projects he's involved in, or his company does. I'd like to see him face to face, since it's been this length of
We're
time.
spending
and a
25 to
And a complete redesign.
$30 million with the gentleman, I think he would be down here handing us this piece of paper.
I'd like to see him personally.
Yeah.
Come here.
You take, this is supposed to be the 8th month that we're into, and as of April the 23rd, the April figures is $1,054,000. And yet this is 160, so I'm not sure we know where all the figures are coming from. Because as of April 23rd, the total that was projected originally, and this document's not dated, and I didn't date it, we're supposed to have 2.5 million invested into the project for now, and I'm not sure they're on that time frame.
I don't think they're on that.
We found that out this morning, they're not on the time frame.
No.
I think we need to have Larry come in if at all possible.
I blame some of that on our diligence, that when the taxpayers voted to approve this jail, we should have been designing the parking at that time. So, and with waiting till the church came down to start that, put everything where it's at now, would be the best explanation for why we're behind.
It all adds up.
These first figures they give us here is 4, 5, 6 months ago, the total of the project was 29.9, and now we got a figure of 26.8, so we're 3 million less than what was presented to us back several months ago.
Hope we can stay.
And that's probably because they crunched the numbers.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're just speculating, we don't know.
Yeah,
We really won't know till the bids
right now we
come
don't
in.
have an answer.
Yeah.
You really won't know till your bids come in.
Right.
But with the bids coming in under the estimated cost for the parking and the side, the side street parking, that maybe things are coming down. We know things are coming
Be
down.
hopeful.
We don't know how much that bid was below his
Right.
projection,
Yeah, couldn't say.
whether it's 10% or 15.
Anything's better than.
Anything's better than that.
Being that
That's
open.
I think anytime you get a bill like this, you need some clarification and conversation, because this does impact decisions that each of you make, and it impacts the county residents and the taxpayers who approved this jail project. And, where is this money going, and why is it going there?
When I look at it, he's got it broke down into his fees per phase, if you will, in schematic design, and basically he's 55% through his design of this jail facility, so he's got time vested.
The
He's going to
schematic
compensate, yes, he's got time vested, he wants compensated for design of the jail, because as Joe said, here, once the parking lot kicks off, he's hoping to bid the site package to get that going, as well as, the, electrical components he needed to get, because they were, what, he said 18
months out.
18 months out on that, so that's the way I read this billing.
Well, there's 3 of those, if I understand it right, 3 of them are zero balances.
Correct.
Like design, development, construction document, and bidding.
He hadn't got
And
to
based
that.
on the chart, all 3 of them are supposed to be done.
I agree, but we go back to, again, if we, as soon as the taxpayers voted to approve this jail, if we'd have started design on that parking lot over there, we'd be building the parking lot right now instead of waiting for bids.
Yeah, right.
And he may be working on the next phase, design, development, potentially some of the others, because this invoice is dated March 27th, so we're into halfway through April. But these type of bills, I don't just sign off on. I want to bring them to you so you're aware of them, and if you decide to move forward and pay it, it comes out of the jail the jail fund, so.
Well, I don't,
I got no problem with him if everybody wants to come in, but that's the way I read this, so he's,
I don't wanna waste the guy's time, cause it's gonna inevitably cost us in the end. If he has to come down here and explain each and every invoice, but if he would send an explanation, email saying, hey, guys, you know, we're at this phase, on this phase, and I need compensated for our time of development and so on and so forth, here's a bill for $160,000.
and that's basically, when I read this, that's what I'm saying. Schematic design completed to date, 55%.
And the total of it was $291,750.
Correct. So he's, 55% of that 291, that's,
Once we do get into construction though, aren't we supposed to have a construction manager? They'll probably report to us every week or
That's
two.
River City.
that's River
I'm
City.
sorry?
River City, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they'll be the ones that are important to us, I assume, other than Larry.
I would be fine with moving this bill forward personally, as long as we could get an explanation from Larry. Is this $26 million the new estimate cost for this building?
You want me to see if he's available now?
If we could get an answer, I would go forward with the bill as long as we could get clarification that the new price for the building is $26 million.
That'd be good, yeah.
So I know him and,
You add on his $2 million design fee on top of that.
That'd be, put it up to 28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that again, Mark.
You add his $2 million design fee on top of that.
Yeah.
Right. That'd be your two.
I wanna make sure that the remodeling of the courthouse here is included in that.
not this courthouse, that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, correct.
Court chambers.
Yes.
Project D credit. There's 22,000, there's $47,000 worth of credit in there. There's an adjustment, that's that $25,000 deal, and there's another 22,000, so. And then, so his 1.927, yeah. It wasn't that fun.
It was, but
26.
does that mean you're done?
Yeah, whatever.
Two more things. I don't have copies of this one. This happened on the 27th when I wasn't here, but it's the security project downstairs. It's an invoice for a down payment, so $79,952.50.
Listen, does he have the, I know he had to order a bunch of ballistic glass or whatever, so does he already have that stuff?
I think everything he needs is on order. He told me personally last week the glass was 3 to 6 months out, even after he's ordered it. So he's hoping for 3, but it's on order.
I was thinking, he told us the day he was here, it was gonna be somewhere at least 3 months.
The question you were asking about the bond, someone was asking about the bond. the bond is on file. I received the bond, and it's hanging up in the clerk's office if anybody wanted to make a request for it. And it covers the bid, performance, it's,
Whole ball of wax.
yep. Okay. So it needed to be there, it's there, so that,
What was our total bid again, I'm sorry?
159, I think.
So he's asked for 50%.
It doesn't say 50%, but it says down payment. So if you wanna see this, I just wanna make
Close.
sure,
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
I think it just needs.
What's the dollar amount on that, Tom?
79,952.
That's probably is 50%.
So something, and I don't have the minutes, Angie can probably reference them from the 27th, but I think that was addressed, wasn't it?
The 27th minute?
That says it was.
Yeah, that's what the note says, and that's why I wanted to bring it in. I didn't initial anything.
That was in his,
I think
quote.
it,
He wanted 50%.
I think his proposal said 50%.
Yeah, okay, so then, it's all good.
So it just needs to be initialed and a check cut then. And it comes from, I don't remember where it came from.
I don't even, to be honest.
I can tell ya.
General. Courthouse maintenance? No. General fund, because it was improvements to the
I think
structure.
so. I think
That's the 27th. Wrong one.
Yeah, I think that was in his proposal, 50% down, yeah.
Okay.
See an issue then.
Do we have that coming out of capital outlay?
You have it, general fund, line item, capital outlay.
It needs to come out of capital outlay.
So I just wanted to make sure it was covered since that conversation occurred when I wasn't here, and that's for,
Do we all need an initial?
Do we all need to initial it? Oh, we don't? Oh.
Okay.
Just
Want me to
big
give it to
guy.
Jessica?
Yeah.
Big guy.
Top dog. I'll word it
Little
different.
dog.
I'll word it different.
Low man on the totem pole.
so last thing is a 10-minute executive session to carry us to the noon hour.
Is it like a celebration or what?
I mean,
don't think you can go in for that.
Is that a?
executive session, non-elected personnel to discuss a hybrid disciplinary / performance issue.
We're gonna carry over to the noon hour. We'll
Hybrid
probably-
disciplinary,
I'd say disciplinary / performance issue involving an individual employee.
See, and that's why you do executive session, because you don't want to mention the name, and you don't want to talk about them in public.
do you want the word hybrid in there, or no?
No, just the / will cover it.
Disciplinary performance issue involving an individual employee.
You kids are getting exposed to a little bit of everything today, so.
I will move.
Myself and the board.
Oh, so, the board.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded,
How-
15 minute. I feel that 15 minutes is gonna be better.
I think 10 minutes will get us there.
Really?
We could test him once, Jesse.
I'm not gonna walk down the stairs again until we go to our meeting at 2 o'clock. No, I can't mess with that thing. Okay.
10 minutes.
10-minute executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we will enter at 11:55. 10 minutes.
We'll be back.
Maybe.
We even get personal calls. Telling us how foolish we are.
All right, last executive session, no action taken? Is that fair to say, Wade?
Yes.
Oh, county engineers. What else, Wade?
So, the last thing, and as I was walking down the stairs, Larry Goldberg called, and he's available by phone right now if you want me to call him, put him on speakerphone, and you can ask the questions so we can move forward. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Larry Wade Bowie. I am sitting in the commission room, and I'm going to put you on speakerphone. And we're in a live session. Okay? And then for reference, your invoice is dated March 27, 2023.
Right.
Larry, can you hear us?
I can, but I am traveling along the highway, so if I lose you, you'll have to call me back.
Okay. Thanks, Larry. Jesse Knight here.
Hi, Jesse.
We received this invoice, and at the top of the page, it says $26,364,329.
Okay.
Is that the revised, and then you've got your, of course, your design fee. So grand total that we're looking at right now is about $28,291,857. Is that the revamped price for this project, to your knowledge?
Yes.
So we went down from like 34 million down to 28 million.
So far, yes.
Okay. And of course, that's estimated cost.
Yeah, Jesse, what will happen if all the commissioners can hear me? Those numbers will go up and down a little bit until the bids are taken, vetted, approved, accepted, and approved by the board, and an overall project number is set. You with me?
Right.
And once that number or those numbers are set, then our fee will be set against a stipulated percentage. It'll then convert to a stipulated amount, and that will be the number going forward from that point on.
Right. Well, the last time you was in here, we was in the low to mid 30 million range, and I still think it was like 32 million or 30 with the basement being X'd out and moved to the second floor. And then, we had the discussion of, what we thought it, need to get down to, if at all possible, and he was gonna rework the numbers and get back with us, which we all know this is an estimate. But, we hadn't received anything since then.
And we're in the middle of engineering calcs and all kinds of stuff, so we will probably come before you with a revised estimate, River City and us, shortly, but we're not quite there yet.
Now, are you gonna have another revised time frame? Because our time frame's blown clear out of the water with this parking lot project and the street project and yada yada.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point, Jesse. So yes, let's include a revised project schedule.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
That's the only question I have. If the other commissioners have anything else.
Larry, this is Don. The original bidding date was April the 23rd. What's your target date for that now? It's going to be in definitely May, be June, or do you have a,
I don't know. I will have to get back to you, or Kevin will have to get back to you on that.
okay? This new, dollar amount that we're talking about at 28, does that include the remodeling of the jail, which was projected to be in a three million range?
I think not. I think that's the law enforcement center itself, but we're hoping to save some money against River City's initial estimate of 3.3 for the renovation.
So the renovation is not in this number we're looking at now?
Correct.
I want to clarify. John says courthouse.
Jail, renovation of the jail.
We're talking about renovation of the jail, judges' chambers and all like that.
Correct.
That number's not included in that 26 million?
No, it's not.
Okay. I think that's where the original 32.
We're back up to
It included all that.
Back up to 31.
We're back up to $31 million with the renovation of the court, judges' chambers
Correct.
and everything.
Correct. But again, guys, we're hoping to save money against both of those pieces. We have gotten some preliminary bids in on Osage that came in better than we expected. So we're hoping maybe we're turning a bit of a corner on some of these crazy prices.
Okay. Well, anybody else have any questions for Larry?
I think so.
I believe that answers our questions, Larry.
All right, thank you.
Thank
And
you,
just
Larry.
to summarize, we'll get on the agenda with an updated budget and an updated project schedule as soon as we can.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that takes that back up to 32.3, roughly.
Well,
It's
I've
not
been
30.
enough of the bearer of bad news today, so that's all I have.
Yeah. That won't fly, will it?
Why quit now?
3.2 or 30.
I'm not sure why they didn't have the 3 million inside that figure. That's part of the project, part of the vote. I got a little bit of a
Problem.
I got a pretty good side problem with that.
I couldn't agree more.
That's part of the deal.
Yeah,
right?
that was part of
That
the.
was part of the project, or is part of the project.
Yes.
Always has been.
So request a revised invoice that includes that, because that also would impact the design fee, wouldn't it? So that design fee is not accurate either.
You better get his paperwork straight.
Yeah.
Right now.
We need those bids to come in considerably.
So we'll have some new parking if nothing else. I mean, we can't go over, can we?
No.
Parking may all be done by the time we get the bids and start up on the jail.
My only thing that kind of goes with the jail is, I'm not up on the bond stuff. That would probably be a question for Richard or our bonding people, but I think the bond rates are dropping.
It's
pretty
pretty
heavy.
what you read.
And so I wonder if we ought to look at maybe some new numbers with our rating that we have to see if we can get a sizable discount on the next,
Our next group.
on the next 10 million. I mean, I know it's way early.
Yeah, I need it around here.
Yeah, I know, but if you can invest it and get your interest back, I mean, why not?
That'd be a Richard question.
Well, it'd probably be who,
Greg Varenberg?
Greg Varenberg.
Yeah, so you want me to reach out to Greg Varenberg, see if he can get on by Zoom on one of the next agendas?
Yeah, see if maybe it'd be advisable. I mean, he's the one that watches it, I don't, but, I mean, I think with everything that's going on, maybe we could get, what was our last bonds, what was it, 4.42?
Yeah,
Something like that.
They're lower than that now, than,
I think.
some report we got said it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We get that number now.
Yeah.
It's way below that, I thought.
So I can reach out to Varenberg and see if he's available in the next couple of weeks to appear by Zoom. I think he could update you by Zoom. If he doesn't, unless you want him to come down in person.
It saves him miles, he can do it by Zoom, as far as I'm concerned. Saves money.
Saves money.
I don't know if there's a time frame on the bond part, but I mean, like, again, you're not gonna need it for another year.
Right, I mean, I agree. If we don't need it, then, but if a person can.
Make money on it, I get it, yeah.
I mean, you can't make any money on it, you can just.
Break even.
Break even.
Yeah.
That'd be a huge plus if you accomplish that.
Right. So I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained, if we can get it.
He could at least give an update on what the market looks
Right.
like, what
That'd
it's
be
doing,
good.
and maybe what the anticipated forecast is. Because right now, things are,
Right, we'd be looking at the last quarter of this year, maybe getting the bond, more than likely.
yeah.
He wouldn't go get anything done for the third quarter maybe.
And I don't know how the market is influenced by, you're gonna see a number of people put their name in the hat for president. I don't know if that makes it go up and down and whatnot. It has the potential to.
It does.
Even though he could give us an update on his expectations, still been a pretty good speculation on if it's gonna continue down or go right back up.
I think it's something we shouldn't ignore.
I agree.
And that could be done by Zoom first.
Right,
Get
exactly.
his thoughts on it, anyhow.
Yeah.
I'll get on it. I don't have anything.
Okay, Steve, you got any roundtable? I'm good. Dawn?
Just a couple things. I got an email from Amanda Cunningham, who's Crosswinds. Are any of you going to that meeting that they've got set up?
The banquet?
Yeah, the banquet set up for, I forget what date it is now. And it doesn't stick out real good. I think I've got it written down. But it's a banquet, dinner served at 5:30, 6 o'clock presentation of last year's accomplishments.
It's May 5th.
Pardon?
It's May 5th.
May 5th.
At the Granada.
Yeah, that's at the old theater.
Yes.
And May 5th is the Leroy Co-op annual meeting, so I know I'll be going to the annual meeting of Leroy.
Yeah, I won't be able to make the next Crosswinds meeting.
It looks like they're working in a 2,132 square foot building. They're gonna talk about a building that they need is 4,000 to 4,500. How much that'll be discussed, we don't have any idea, but they're gonna be evidently looking at something. We're gonna be looking at budgets here pretty quick. I'm not sure when we'll have those meetings, but the evaluation sheets have been sent to all of our citizens. When are we gonna know the evaluation for the county for?
We won't know until June 15th.
It will be as
Oh,
late
for
as
the county, I'm sorry. I think June 1st.
June 1st. Does Connie already, and I haven't talked to Connie, does she already have the new evaluation for Wolf Creek? 'Cause I know
We
it
won't.
came in early before, I think, but,
We don't typically get that until the 15th of June.
okay. Nothing else. I was hoping we'd have that stuff pretty quick so we'd have time to evaluate.
Well, you still will, because you'll have all of June and then July.
Yeah, we'll still have time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our normal schedule.
Wade?
I don't have anything today.
Mr. Hugan?
Been talking to one of the fair board members, crops building, I was supposed to go meet with him this morning and look over the, drawings. Steve Wade, we were having a building designed for the ag extension. I don't remember if you guys are here when all that took place. Anyway, when we bought the building up by, Baumgart's for them to move in, that design was like 3/4 complete. So now what the Fair Board would like to do, they'd like a Crops building, but just basically chop off all the office space, give us the bathrooms and the open space. And so therefore goes the question, do we need to spend money to get this redesigned? I mean, I know the normal procedures, some bid documents, bonding, all that in place. I don't know.
What do they have already? Is there a completed design?
Pretty much. I mean, the footings have been designed, the structure's kind of been designed. So I don't know, for bidding purposes, if we could just, you know, tell individuals, okay, we're chopping this part off. I'm not, in order to go back to redesign, which is gonna cost more money.
Where's this gonna be built?
They have down at the fairgrounds, or the city, they have a Crops building there now that's pretty much dilapidated. We were gonna, the intent was to get rid of that one and build new there.
At the same site?
Yes.
Okay.
The interest they've had in that the last 3 or 4 years have gotten extremely low. If a new building was in place, I don't know whether the numbers would come up or not. Because that building last couple of years hadn't been 20%. And I hope I'm not talking out in left field. Probably hadn't been 20% used, but a lot of it's because of the quality of the building.
The quality of the building is exactly it. Is exactly it.
I wonder, if, you know, with that being, and I know we're part of it, because we provide $20,000 a year or 25. Does K-State have funds partially available or grant funds that they could go after that might possibly build half of?
I don't know, I'll ask the question. I just know it's being somewhat rekindled, if you will,
Yeah.
and the thought process is, do we need to spend a bunch of more money on design? I did tell them, you know, if it's county funds, it's gonna have to be the correct bidding procedure with bonds in place and insurances in place and all like that, so. I'm planting seeds.
Has the extension office lost an employee? And I haven't talked to them, but they had an ad in the paper for employment.
I do not know.
If I remember right, is it?
I was in there last week and nobody said anything. I thought
Well, you hired, appraiser's office is hiring one.
I'm sorry?
Appraiser's office hired Lauren.
Yeah, but this is the extension service.
Yeah, she's coming
She come from the extension.
Okay. But I think they had an ad last week that they need to hire somebody.
So they did lose an employee, yes.
Okay.
Tom, to answer your question, I think what I'd like to see is going back and figure out what action the board has taken to get things to the point where the building was being designed and then make decisions from there, because I think they came in and made requests and they should be reflected in the minutes somewhere.
Yeah, they would be, and if I remember correctly, the numbers won't be exact, but we allotted $65,000 basically for design of this structure. And after we bought that building, we shut off that process, if you will, and it was 3/4 done, so we had to pay 40-some thousand in design fees, which gave us some drawings.
Yeah.
And some documents, we didn't get bid documents or nothing like that, but we got drawings.
Right. So maybe go back, see what we have, and then make decisions from there. What motions were made, what was approved originally. I know the city was involved too, as well, so.
We need to make sure it's still okay to do it on the
Yeah.
city property.
I'll ask that question.
You'll be there Wednesday, so.
Just have whatever that little packet is, get caught up to speed, and then figure out how to move forward from there.
Yeah, well, like I say, one of the board members has those, and I got busy this morning, I was supposed to go by and visit with him prior to coming here, and I did not do that, so. I will.
So
So kind of planting the seed, I mean, it's back on
Back on the table.
back on the table to whether we're gonna spend money to build a new crops building down at the fairgrounds for Fair Board or not.
Fair Board meets Wednesday night, by the way.
I can't
got a
make three
meeting.
meetings.
Can't make 3 meetings.
But at least I can touch base with, I mean, if everybody's still in favor of maybe doing something like that.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say is, I mean, it's like, pretty much like everything else we got going on here, I mean, we're being told the project up north is 99% gonna happen. All these things that we're doing, I just see as bettering the community, bettering the county for future generations. My take on it.
Is that the end of your roundtable?
That's it to me.
Nancy, do you have anything?
Just a couple things. Don, have you ran into Lyle for surety?
I was gonna ask you, you know, there at one time, we wanted our people to, if they was already on the committee, to resubmit an app.
Okay.
I meant to ask you last week. I haven't talked to him, I haven't seen him for 2 weeks. Does he need to prepare an application?
Well, we didn't for the ones that have been reappointed, but I didn't know that you'd changed that. So you wanted them to resubmit.
We've done that a year or so ago. The ones that were already on the committees, the decision made to make them reapply for it,
Okay,
the same as a brand new person was asked.
okay.
I didn't know whether that was set in stone or not.
Well, we didn't.
We just did it today.
Yeah, we just did it
Pardon?
today.
We just did it today on the airport board
I
without
talked
an
to Alderman Lyle
application.
down this week,
Without an application.
and Lyle was getting along pretty good, so I'd say he probably did reapply.
Okay. Or
I'll
just
get
let me
back-
know if you want to reappoint or
Okay.
whatever, so.
I'll get back to you.
Okay.
You know, Lyle's in Wade's territory, but I've known
Don
Lyle.
volunteered
Yeah,
to visit with him
yeah.
about it.
Okay.
Yeah, he walks by your place every day, I think.
Yeah, almost every day.
He walks a couple miles every day.
The next Monday is the Flight Training Scholarship Award, so you'll want to be here for sure at 8:30, because we'll start the meeting at 8:30 to go to the lobby, I guess, if you're still going to do it in the lobby or out on the patio or somewhere. And then you've got your new tablets today that we've had. The price was, as I told you last week, right at $1,000. I told you I would take that out of my clerk technology fund, and that way it's from fees collected, not from any budget money. So hopefully those are working well for you. And then the last thing is, last week, I think, did most of you get this magazine, Ingram, last week? Okay. In there, did you see the article, Made in Kansas label, we use even more today? It even talks about Coffee County. And so I wanted to make sure that you guys read that, because it mentions Bobby Skipper in there and,
I haven't read it yet, but I got it in the
yeah,
pickup,
so be sure to read that. I think you'll find that interesting. It's in the Kansas Business Magazine Ingram, so, and I usually keep that in our,
I took mine home and was reading it, and I saw that, yeah.
yeah. So if a citizen wants to read that, they can read it.
On Tuesday of next week, I've got marked down time clock.
Yeah, we're
lunch
starting,
training. Is that
we're starting the time clock training next week.
next
Yeah.
Tuesday?
Yep. And then those that can't make it, it will be recorded. And hopefully we'll be starting with the time on May 1.
Mayday, Mayday.
Are we gonna be-
Yeah, we might be saying May Day.
Are we gonna be on real time at that time?
Should be, if all goes well with the implementation, yeah.
Okay, so it'll be on real pay, like we've been talking.
Well, yeah, and then we'll have to still figure out that, like when we're gonna cut off. So probably in the next, once we get things up and going, then I'll come back and talk to you about when should we cut off the pay for the month and see how we're gonna do that.
That was my meeting, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, I need to talk with the trainer, maybe we can come up with some sort of idea.
Yeah.
I'm doing that, but yeah, that's, the end goal is to get on real time
Okay.
pay.
At the same time?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Well, I don't think you can do it at the same time.
Yeah, it may not be, I
You're
think
gonna
it
have
might
to.
take a couple
I
months.
don't think you can. I think it'd be a
Otherwise-
disaster.
You'll have to manually change your time clock.
Well,
On
Won't you?
time clock.
we're gonna have to figure out, once they get implemented and we see how things are going, and then I find out when we can cut the payoff, because you guys still have to pay, you have to sign.
Right.
So like, are we gonna cut off on like the 25th and short people a week's pay? There's a lot of questions that we gotta.
Whatever works for your office is what I say.
Take into
Because you're the
account.
one's gotta write the check, so if that's ample time, then I'm fine with it, but.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, so we'll know more, I think, after next week, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed.
You know, April vouchers is Wednesday of next week.
Yes.
Wade and Steve will be at the KAC meeting. Is that something we need to take a look at, doing vouchers on Monday? Or would they be available on Monday?
Yeah, I don't think they'll be ready, that's pretty early, although we could switch it to Thursday, will you guys do that Thursday? No?
It'll be Thursday afternoon.
Be Thursday afternoon, because it runs till noon.
Because it runs to noon. Normally they're done by 11 o'clock on that last day.
I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench, I will be gone the 26th.
Oh. So.
That will throw a monkey wrench.
There'll be three of us here on Wednesday.
Can we do what we can on the 24th?
I mean, there'll be 3 people here to sign, right?
There'll be three of us here.
Let me go see if
On the
they-
26th?
Most are gonna be gone. I'm gonna be
27.
gone, there's only gonna be 2.
Yeah, you said Thursday.
I'll be gone Wednesday the 26th.
So that's on at least 2 of us.
Will you be back the 27th? No, okay. All right, let me.
You're gonna be on Wednesday?
I would have been and come back to Thursday.
Well, we'll run through right quick, Tom.
You're on the 26th or so. Okay.
Yes, I will be gone. I will
So there
be
won't be
gone
3 of us.
Thursday. I'll be gone Thursday till May 3rd.
That's right.
We all need to do something.
Okay, that's gonna be too early.
Too early?
We won't be able to get payroll done and all that.
Can 2 of us do it?
Well, we need 3,
Yeah, but I
and you have
think,
to have 3 to have a meeting, so,
because it is a meeting, so.
cause you'll have, so what
Is
about
Friday
Thursday?
Friday too late?
Yeah, Friday'd be too late, cause that's the last
That's
day
the
of the month.
28th.
Cause I won't be here.
Pardon?
Cause I won't be here Friday.
We'll have to do Thursday in the afternoon, if you guys can come back. You check it out.
It's a 3-hour drive,
Yeah.
they're probably running till noon, don't they?
11 o'clock.
Thursday.
On the agenda, we're talking about 11 o'clock, is a sign out, and then
3 hours back.
3 hours back.
You might as well figure 4 hours back.
Might
as well figure 4 hours back.
Yeah.
You're gonna eat lunch after 11 o'clock.
That's 3 o'clock.
Is that last day is when you meet as a county size?
I'd have to look at the agenda, I can't think what.
I'm not too sure that last morning isn't done
Let me
based
go
on county
around.
size,
What
break
about
into 5
Tuesday?
different groups.
Tuesday, I don't think.
Still on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean.
I know it's been scheduled for the 26th.
Yeah, let me go check with Richard and see if we can work something out with him, you guys can come in Friday.
We'll be back at 1:45, so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we gotta come back here.
Yeah, I can wait till then. I'll go talk to him and see where you're gone, lunch.
Did you ask about Friday? Nothing.
Well, I mean,
If
it
everybody
is
else
kind
will
of,
be here.
but if I can work something out with Richard where he can get the numbers beforehand, maybe it will be okay, I don't know, I need to talk to him. The last day is,
For
that might be,
Tuesday,
no, for Friday.
That's nothing bad for me.
That's really the only day we can do it, unless we do it Thursday afternoon.
You 3 would be here. Tom, you're gone Friday.
It'll be Friday the 28th.
I took the S3. Yeah. There's track meet in Madison that day, but I didn't get to it.
Okay, we can discuss this later on, I guess. When we get more
I'm not
information.
gonna be gone, but.
You won't be back this afternoon, will you?
Right, I'm leaving.
You won't be back this afternoon?
What time is it this afternoon?
1:45? Well, 2 o'clock.
I think
Probably 30-minute meeting.
I'll be here. I'll just think, I'll be here.
We're supposed to be back here at 1:45.
1:45, yeah.
Well, wait, I can let you know what the,
Is there any
what I
you
find
like
out
here?
from Richard on
Yes.
signing.
No, we'll go downstairs.
Okay.
But we'll meet here.
I'll meet
Richard's
here.
an voucher,
I'll just,
Okay.
I'll be
but
here.
who's gonna sign the check then? Can another one sign that's not chairman or vice chairman? I mean, we have stamps, but, which I guess I can stamp one of you guys' names and I can sign the other stuff. As long as we have 2 original signatures. Or one, I guess it's one original signature.
I'll have company in from out of town, they'll probably sleep late, so I can come in real quick in the morning, on Friday if you want.
I was gonna say on Friday morning, could we do it, could we start like at 8 o'clock?
That's fine with me.
I mean, would that alleviate,
On
would
Friday.
that help?
That's what I need to ask for
Oh.
Drew.
That's the deal, isn't it?
Yeah. I can come in Friday morning if you,
Okay.
if it's a necessity, yes.
Okay. I'll talk to Richard and see what we can wrangle around and,
And then we'll know this after, I mean.
yeah, I'll let
okay.
you, when you come back at 1:45.
Fine. Okay.
We will
That way
recess,
you can go get lunch
we will recess until 1:45
for interviews.
for interview.
See, a lot of these days are pretty full right now.
Oh, we still got some
School,
too.
school one.
We can do that from 1:45 to 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
I like that sweet hot tomatoes. Green tomatoes, you can green tomatoes, put jalapenos in there. All right, we're back.
So I checked with Richard on signing, and so if you guys could do it Friday morning, then we'll make it work, the rest of it. If we can't get all the bills between getting, with their totals, we'll just post-date them for the next day and mail them out Friday afternoon, and they'll go out Saturday morning, so.
But yeah, we come in like 8 o'clock, like they have company in from out of state.
We're gonna sign them on the 28th then.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 o'clock, I mean, that works well for,
Okay. That will
if
work.
that works for everybody else.
Just have to remind me to adjourn Monday the 24th until Friday 8 a.m. to 28. I got one roundtable, and I visited with Wade Thompson a little bit about it. Here, what, a month ago or so, the city of New Strong mayor come in with a gentleman from the streets department or from the water department. They asked for $100,000 or $150,000 to do their lagoon to get ready for the expansion of people moving into Coffee County.
Yeah, I think it was 150, had enough funds to do, I think it was either 150 or two.
And then I don't know how many of you know that the city shot down the sale of several acres in their city limits to a developer to build houses in the city limits. So their board shot down the building of new homes in New Strong after they come in and said they was wanting to get geared up for expansion. They,
Location of the development or what?
well, it was on their property that used to be, supposedly was gonna be used for ball fields years and years ago, for the rec. We're gonna use it, and then that all went away, so it was an option to sell, and, they shot it down. So I kinda feel like it's mud in the face of the commission that put forth $150,000 to them to get ready for expansion of new homes, and then they go and shoot down a developer that wanted to build houses in their town.
But we didn't commit the money.
Yes, we passed it to.
Made a motion, but
we
we've
made a
not paid
motion,
anything.
but we have not paid them yet.
Okay.
That is my thinking. If they're not gonna
Help themselves.
help themselves, then,
I'd like to find out a little more why they, I'd like to find the reasoning behind why they, maybe they had a valid reason.
I know that there's several people unhappy with the decision that the council made, so.
We asked them to come in.
Probably wouldn't hurt. I would be for visiting with the mayor
I think
over.
we need to visit again.
Yeah, I just look at it as a slap in the face to us personally. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Come and ask for money, we give it, and then they turn down a developer that's gonna build houses and vacant lots, vacant acreage that the city owns. So I would like to know little more explanation
Yeah,
behind it.
and again, they could have had a valid reason for it.
And they may.
You know,
So,
I don't know, maybe, I'd just like to find out for sure.
Jeff, this is Friday, I can come next week.
yeah, that's fine.
Where's the housing project on the east side of 75? Where's that project at for 50 houses?
Well, you know, Tex come in and was talking about it. They're
Rex,
one-
that's been 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, and I don't think anything's, to my knowledge, anything's been done. I don't see any work or any survey or
Nothing.
I haven't heard of anything.
To my knowledge, he owned the property, but I don't know that. He does own the property there. So, I don't.
Yeah, according to Onyx.
But, you know, that's out of the city limits. They'd have to have that annexed in to do city stuff, city water, sewer.
That sounded pretty promising the day he was here.
Yep. I don't know. It was upsetting to me that, you know, which I know the mayor's just the mayor, but. Right. That's why you got city council, you know. Just didn't set well with me. I don't live in a city, so I guess maybe that's the reason behind it.
I've heard about it, and something to do with kids do things on that property several times a year was one of the reasons why the city council wasn't interested in moving forward. But I think there's more information that goes with it, so.
Is Carl in today, Katie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I visited. I seen him out in the parking lot. We visited for a little bit.
I'll stop by and chat with him.
Did you have a good lunch, Katie?
You were short, but I had one,
You
yeah.
short but
Yeah. Yep, no, I didn't, thank you. Did you guys get a break? Good.
Well, I was on the
Short,
phone.
long day.
I was on the phone most of the time, but
Right.
anyway.
I was too.
I understand.
I understand it's short.
We ran to Uber and came right back, yeah.
Today's my wife's birthday and I haven't got her anything yet, so I gotta get busy. And I gotta pay my taxes, so I'm gonna have to tell her that I'm not gonna be
Yeah, a
able
whole
to
bunch of
go.
money then.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to go get her a birthday present, so I gotta pay taxes.
Good luck.
Yeah, she's really hated her birthday being on tax day her whole life.
Yeah, today's our anniversary, and I called Jude and told her I was gonna be just a little late, so.
Good job.
At least you made,
I did make contact with her.
At least you made contact.
Yeah, I did.
Ours is Wednesday, we don't do anything for
We don't.
15 years, yeah.
How many?
15.
15.
Ours is May 1st. I'll be sitting on a beach drinking a umbrella.
Melbourne?
Yeah. No, ma'am. That was
No?
good. That was good. That's probably where I should be.
Well, you paid your taxes, I just thought.
Yeah, I might.
Melbourne might be a good idea.
Actually, it's a business expense, trip to Mexico. Well, waiting for 2 o'clock.
For, oh, you have to literally
Go.
wait, yeah.
No, we don't have to wait, but
No, I didn't know.
is,
She's here.
she's
Yeah,
here?
I'm just up
I
here
guess we
to
can go into executive session anytime.
report
can't
down
we?
whenever you guys are ready, yeah.
Okay. Wade, you got the executive session terminology?
I was just gonna give you a update on Modern Air was here. Air handler was leaking at the coil, something to do where the aluminum and copper meet, so it had to be welded. Unit was shut down completely, and it's back up.
So we don't have to replace the whole thing?
Well,
Not yet.
the coils. Maybe that's a quick fix, a Band-Aid, but the compressors.
Are still down? The compressors are still down on it?
So I'll get more info, but I'd responded asking if I needed to get an email out to everybody. By the time I got a reply, they had already shut it down and turned it back on, so.
Guess you didn't need it.
Nope.
Is this executive session gonna be 30 minutes?
What's that?
Is this executive session gonna be 30 minutes interview?
That's what you had indicated before, so I'd say 30 to 40 minutes is typically what you're doing for a interview.
I think the last ones we did was 30, the ones we did before that, we were 45, and, yep, so. You got a list of the questions we could follow along,
I
can't you?
do.
I'm gonna set it for 35, how's that? We'll split the difference. 'Cause I know sometimes in the past, there's been a lot of times just asking the questions, and the person really doesn't have a chance to respond
Right.
to us, and, or to ask us questions.
Yep,
So-
and that's important, I feel like, for
It
them
is.
to be able to
It
ask
is.
us.
I think that's very important.
So I said it was 35 minutes.
Mhm.
So you got the wording, verbiage?
I mean, it's motion to go into, executive session for non-elected personnel, 35 minutes for, interview for health department director.
Or RN.
RN or just nurse of any kind?
Well, I should say, I can say nurse.
Okay,
That's
that's what I
That's
thought.
adequate, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Myself, the board, and Katie.
35 minutes. I will move.
Second.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Huguenin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll enter at 1:58.
So we'll go get it from now.
1:58. Aye. What time is it?
156.
Okay. 1:58 should be
Down
plenty.
there.
Yeah, 1:58. I left my glasses down there, so.
I got mine. I can do it.
Yeah. Try it. Yeah.
Do something around 72,
Huh?
72, 73.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's my phone?
2000.
2080, it's gonna be.
2080.
73.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it set on there.
Sorry.
I have motions for those, but I don't know what they did with it. Are you going back in?
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back in,
15.
under the same,
Okay.
But I think,
same people, same motion.
I so moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Huguenin, seconded by McCurry. Another 15 minutes, we'll enter, or all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll enter at 2:38
And for 15?
for 15 minutes.
Okay.
As long as that don't change real quick. We'll have enough time.
You started with that? Oh. You need
Go
it?
ahead.
30.
35 the first time and 15.
Oh, it was 35? I thought it was 33.
No, it's 35 the first time.
Okay.
35 minutes,
Yeah, 35 minutes.
Executive.
Yeah.
28. Did we go down on 28 and then we went down on a
15.
15? 15?
I'm gonna do it again.
15? 15 minutes?
10 or 15?
15.
Oh, 53. Okay, you're right.
This is the original license.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this will be the same thing except for with a tweak. myself, the board, 15 minutes, and this will be for discussion of the applicant for the health department director.
I will move. I'll second.
One of the two.
Moved by Knight, second by McCurry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We'll enter at, we're gonna give a little extra time, 3:03 for 15 minutes.
Just gonna wait for the box.
Oh, I know.
What
I know.
do you know?
All right. We're back live. You need a few minutes to think. We've got a couple of motions here.
Yeah, they just came in, during your executive session, so. And I figure we might as well get them cleared up this week.
Yeah. In need of review?
Well, didn't I give you, you should have a copy, I laid in there.
Well, you may have, and I,
It's all right, there's another one. Oh, you're holding it in hand.
Oh, you gave it to him?
Oh, okay. Well, you should have one there somewhere, because I looked later my numbers too.
Y'all see the motions?
Mm-hmm.
First one, completed law enforcement training.
Oh, okay.
Second one, met requirement for,
Move to corrections 2. Third one's
third one's
promoted to corporal. Based upon recommendation of the county sheriff, move to authorize director chairman to sign Coffee County payroll notice for Ed Taylor, sheriff, part-time, courthouse security deputy promotion, classification from 40-5 to 40-6, wage from $22.62 to $23.06, effective 4/17/23.
so moved.
Second. Moved by Huguet and seconded by McCurry. Any discussion?
That's a two-step move in 20 days.
The first one, Ed Taylor, is that right? Yeah, Ed Taylor, graduated from Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center.
Okay.
Is the reason for
So there's support there
Yep,
back of that.
yep.
And I think
There's
that's all we need to look,
Yep.
I think that's what we need to evaluate.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next one is, based upon the recommendation of the county sheriff, move to authorize director chairman to sign Coffee County payroll notice for Darrell Fournier, jail, full-time sergeant promotion, classification from 30-2 to 35-5, wage from $18.72 to $21.03, effective 4/20/23, and it says met requirements for move to corrections 2 and promoted to sergeant.
Oh, it's a 231 increase, but it sounds like he's accomplished two things that, you know, that rewards that. Also moved.
Moved by Meeks.
Second.
Seconded by Huguet. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Motion 3, based upon the recommendation of Coffee County Sheriff, move to authorize director chairman to sign Coffee County payroll notice for Jonathan Combs, jail, full-time, corporal promotion, classification from 35-3 to 35-4, wage from $20.25 to $20.63, effective 4/20/23.
What kind of training's he got?
It just says promoted to corporal, that's all it
Promoted
says.
to corporal. He's evidently had some training to reach that, though.
Yep, that's all it says.
Yeah, also,
I'll second. Moved by Meeks, seconded by LaFerry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. There you go, ma'am.
Sorry to rush this through, but
Hey,
you're ready?
you just done what you was instructed to do. Okay. What a day. Waiting on the ladies. Verbiage.
how many young people are we gonna have this year Monday for the airport?
You know, she didn't tell me how many, I can call and check though.
We'll find out Monday.
I did get a hold of City of New Strong to see if Rhonda can come Monday, so she's supposed to let me know. So,
So my question on the sheriff with the advances on those two, are those individuals gonna get a step increase at the same time? Or is this their step?
They've already got that one.
They've already got their April first.
yeah.
So, see those ones that went up one step, they actually get in the two-step, but they've got the, you know, Tom's got the supporting documents.
Right.
It's what we've kinda asked for, so
Right, okay.
I think I got a pretty good comfort level.
Okay, good.
Wade, that question you had earlier was a 50-11.
She did mention that that money was supposed to be for riprap, not for,
Yeah, for the lagoons, for the expansion of New Strong.
okay,
To help with the expansion of New Strong, or the expansion of the county,
okay.
with building homes and so on and so forth, so.
But that was the clerk, so she said, I'm gonna let Rhonda tell you.
I've been informed she wasn't very happy with the decision that they made, but, I mean, she's just the mayor too, so.
So, following up on the series of executive sessions to discuss, interview and discuss the applicant one for the health department administrator, it's my understanding that although during the last executive session, there was a consensus, no voting took place, but it's my understanding at this point in time, the board is wanting to formally make a motion to authorize the interim health department director to formally offer the position of Coffee County Health Department Administrator to applicant one, subject to salary negotiations. If accepted, the CP4U salary for the position will be formalized by the board at the next board meeting. Is that a fair?
Yes.
Fair motion?
A fair statement of what your intent is?
Yes.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay. I need your chicken scratch.
She was not typing as you was reading.
I thought you were.
Just talking.
Yeah, I thought you were just talking.
Hey, it's getting late in the day. It's
I hear that quite a bit.
It's been a rather long day, but it's been a pretty productive.
It's been a good day.
Yeah, it's the main thing.
you can read my,
I can read it.
I print instead of write in cursive, because I can't even read my own cursive.
Should have you been a doctor? Maybe you missed your calling, Wade.
My grandfather was, he was an MD. He's actually a doctor in, World War II.
Okay, got it.
Motion is to authorize the interim health director, department director, to formally offer the position of Coffee County Health Department Administrator to applicant number 1, subject to salary negotiations. If accepted, the CP4U will be formalized by the board at the next board meeting. I will move.
I'll second.
So say CP4U salary or CP4U?
Salary,
CP4U.
CP4U salary.
Salary.
Sorry, missed that.
Moved by Knight, seconded by Huguenin. Any more discussion? Any discussion? I'd just like to say that she's a qualified individual, and I hope will carry the torch for the Coffee County Health Department with pride and make good things happen. All in favor, say aye. 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 Motion passes. And with that, does anybody have anything else? Hearing none, we will adjourn at 3:31. That's the card. Flip the switch force on. So, thanks, Steve. You're welcome.